Welcome to our 50th weekly webcast. I'm doing this broadcast from Toronto right now, and I'll go into high-speed motion. I'll show you how I set up all of my equipment. I'm actually recording videos here for my upcoming complete YouTube course. And so this is part of the setup here. And I'm at my parents' place in Mississauga, which is just outside of Toronto. Let me get the lighting a little bit better in my face here. And I want to introduce you really quickly to my sister, Elizabeth, who's a clone of me. Okay, hold on a second. All right, Yaba. We called her Yaba growing up because Elizabeth's too hard to say. So come on over here. Here, stand up.
Okay.
That's my little sister.
Hi.
I love her to death.
Hi.
And those are her kids there. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, great. And there's my mama. Mom, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Love you. All right, thanks. And Elizabeth will be on the webcast a little bit later on today as well. And so I'm going to set up the room right now. I'll go in a really high-speed mode so you can see me set it up really quickly. And you can ask me questions about that in the webcast if you want to. So without further ado, let's begin, and thank you. Good morning, and so please ask as many questions as you want to. This call will never end until there's no more questions left in the queue. And so you can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, anything you want. My little sister just walked in. I'm in my parents' apartment now in Toronto, and she gave me this Tim Hortons coffee. Tim Hortons is a big deal in Canada. This coffee has 70% market share up here. It's a patriotic thing, and Tim Hortons was a hockey player that passed away years ago. 70% market share. Compare that with Starbucks in the US, which has 40%. So it's kind of a big deal here. Okay, so let me scroll over and see if there's questions. All right, so hold on one second. All right, so good morning. Well, a bunch of people on the call. Okay, please type your questions now. Thank you. So John is saying, hi, Chris. My name is Ivan. Coffee. Interested is just send me a message over LinkedIn and we can all meet up and grab a coffee here. Okay, great. So let's see how we're doing here with the call. Okay, hold on one second. It looks like we're buffering a little bit. Okay, I think we're okay. We're okay. All right. Next question is from Willem. Willem was on our first call. This is week 50 now. In our first call, I held up my fake ID. That's right, folks. It was a McLovin fake ID. And I asked people to tell me, what movie it's from. And Willem correctly named it from Superbad. That's why I call him McLovin. So everybody's got to call Willem McLovin from now on. So Willem, the replay of this. It's going to be really, really long. It covers everything. And I even created an episode yesterday that's going to go in the complete YouTube course. How I set up this audio here, the video, as well as the cameras and the lighting, and much, much more. And I partnered actually with a woman named Sasha Stevenson, who is YouTube famous. She's Canadian. I've never met her, but she lives in Indonesia, and she has over 100 million views, which is amazing. And so she's taught me a heck of a lot about YouTube and how to do it right. And I'm still improving. Look, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm getting a little bit better. And so if you have questions today about this entire camera setup, I don't know if you've all watched the intro video to today's webcast, but I showed you in high-speed mode how I set all this stuff up. The lighting isn't perfect, and I kept it a little bit darker than usual because the light will change from this window, which you can't see right here throughout the day. So again, if you're from Mississauga or Toronto and you want to grab a coffee tomorrow afternoon, send me a LinkedIn message and we can meet up. Thank you. All right. So Kurt is asking, what is my favorite question or episode so far? Let me think about that. I think I had one from a week or two ago where somebody had asked me, what are my 10 biggest tips on life? My humble thoughts on that. And what I did was I answered all 10, and I turned that into a vlog, which is coming out soon. And I also teach you how I created that vlog, meaning the editing behind the scenes, in the YouTube course coming up soon. So thanks for that. Yeah. And actually, Sasha Stevenson, who's teaching this YouTube course with me, I met her on week 10 on this call. She asked questions. And then she started giving me advice on my YouTube stuff. And so I asked her, hey, do you want to go 50-50 and create a course together? So if you give, you will receive. It's been prophetic and true since the beginning of time. Okay. All right. Next question is, and if I missed your question along the way, please let me know as I answer the questions in the order in which I receive them. But I do miss things sometimes. The older I get, the better I was. So the next question is, are there efficient markets? There's a great quote, which is, the markets can stay inefficient longer than you can stay solvent. I don't think markets are really that efficient. I don't think that stocks are priced for perfection, as they say on Wall Street. I think that there's a lot of opportunities to invest because people are creatures of emotion and not creatures of logic. It's so true. And so the stock market's a weird thing. It's the only store in the world. I'm quoting Warren Buffett here. Warren Buffett said the stock market or the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. Warren Buffett also said he goes to his favorite restaurant in Omaha every Friday night, and he orders a steak, and he pays $10 for it. And he said, if the price of that steak dropped to $9, would I buy more or less of it? Of course I buy more of it. So just remember that when it comes to the stock market, people are creatures of emotion and less so creatures of logic. And you want to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And that's another great quote from the sage of Omaha, Warren Buffett. You want to buy when there's blood in the streets and when everyone else is panicking. And don't watch the media. Like, don't watch, pardon me, hold on. Don't watch financial news programs ever, please. Because what happens is people come on, they get interviewed, and they can be CEOs or investors, and they're always going to try and bias you to like their company. I mean, the CEO is not being unethical, but she or he is a great salesperson. That's how they became CEO. And when people go on the shows on TV and they start pitching stocks to you or investments, a lot of times they're biased because they own those investments. And so I want to always empower you to do your own research all the time. Pardon me. Yeah, always do your own research. And you can take my complete financial analyst training course to learn how to thoroughly research a stock. And before you invest in a stock, I want you to do a one-page write-up, which has your thesis, why you want to own this company, why you're in it for the long run. Okay. And then after you buy the stock, if the stock drops a lot one day, you go back to that one-pager you created and you think to yourself, why did I buy this stock in the first place? And if a new piece of news comes out a year or two from now and you're scared, go back and read your one-pager and think to yourself, when I made this one-pager, if I had known about that news item back then, would I have still bought the stock? And if the question is yes, then of course, just, don't sell the stock. In fact, add more. When I used to, I'm going to take off this Apple Watch here because it's starting to make noise and I haven't figured out how to use it. My little sister sent me a text. Her name is Elizabeth. We called her Yaba growing up, but she's going to come by soon to join me on this webcast. But when you buy a stock, I want you to think very long term. Okay, I want you to ask yourself, in 5 years, let's pretend a couple of years ago, and I wanted to invest in the company because it was cheap. Never buy a stock just because it's cheap. Okay, always buy for fundamentals first, and then valuation second. But you might ask yourself, okay, in 5 years, it was cheap at the time because those estimates are wrong. You want to think longer term. You don't want to be a tourist in a stock. You don't want to rent a stock. And to quote Jason Chu, who is my wonderful analyst at my hedge fund years ago, he would say, Chris, I don't know the path, but I know the destination, when he did research on stocks. He was awesome. He was great. So anyway, I don't think the markets are efficient ever. Ever, ever, ever. Otherwise, the whole investment market would not exist. What's the point? They're not priced efficiently. They're always priced at a 30% discount by the investment bankers. Why? Because if they weren't at a discount, nobody would buy it during the IPO. And that's why they usually pop a bit if they're priced at a discount. And so the bottom line is that I don't think that markets are efficient at all. I think they're incredibly inefficient. And always remember that people are creatures of emotion and not creatures of logic. One more quick thing. I've worked for a lot of billionaires, and most of them, I'm not going to say which ones, but most of them kind of have, it feels like borderline Asperger's syndrome, which is actually a good thing because they're somewhat unemotional when it comes to stocks. A lot of great business people are very unemotional as well. They never get too happy when things go well, and vice versa. They never get too upset when things don't go well. So when you start your company, just remember, and I don't mean to be a downer, I'm a positive person, but you never want to be too happy early on when things go well, because of vice versa. Just stay even keeled and be unemotional. A bunch of people saying good morning. Good morning, Adish. Good morning, John. Good morning, Kurt. How are you? Okay. Next up is how do I get more determined? So determined for me is basically a euphemism for ambition. And the way to stay incredibly ambitious and motivated is to always think longer term. And so what I want you to do, all of you, please, is I want you to write down your 10-year goals. Okay. I want you to go on a long walk by yourself, bring your Android device, iPhone, or a pad, a paper and a pen, and write down your goals in 10 years. And then what I want you to do is, after you've come up with your goals, you can put them in your calendar on your Android device or iPhone and have them repeat daily. That's right, every single day. And make sure to set deadline dates as well. And just know that you can accomplish anything, but you got to look at the gap, right? Here's where you want to be in 10 years. Here's where we are now. How do you fill that gap? How do you fill that gap? And so find people that have done it and kind of emulate their career path, so to speak. And it's a beautiful thing when you can visualize a goal. Because as Picasso said, and I was in the Picasso Museum in Barcelona last week, it was awesome. What Picasso said is that everything you can imagine is real. And one thing that might destroy your motivation or determination is if you hang around with people that are very, very negative, right? You are a product of your environment. So I want you to cut off everybody in your life that's negative. And I also want you to revisit your goals daily or weekly in your calendar on your handheld, and just know that you are getting close to your goal. And the only reason why you won't achieve them is if you have self-doubt. You know, I think therefore I am, like the Rodin sculpture. I think I'm saying that right. Rodin. Yeah. I think therefore I am. You know, and Henry Ford had this great quote. He said, whether or not you think you can do it, you're right. Now, I want to talk about when you first come up with a goal. And I think it was Lao Tzu said that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So you got to start today. But when you first start out embarking upon a journey to reach your goal, let's say your goal is the top of the mountain. I can see it, dude. It's right there. It's far away, but I can see it. It's beautiful. I want to be up there. I want to own that mountain. And you start embarking upon your journey, and you're having fun. And you're actually getting closer to the mountain. And you can see that the top of the mountain is getting bigger because you're getting closer to it. And then you're going to reach a point one day where you're lost. You're kind of veering this way, going this way. And you're like, I can't see the top of the mountain anymore. What happened to my goal? Don't worry. You're getting closer. The reason you can't see the top of the mountain anymore is because you're halfway up and you just can't see it. But rest assured, you are getting closer to the top. And so the bottom line here is you want to visualize your goals, write down your goals, think longer term, meaning 10 years out, and eliminate every distraction in your life that's going to get in your way, meaning negative people. Cut them off if they're hurting your determination and your confidence and your ability to get closer to the top of the mountain. All right. Next question is, it's getting a little bit lighter outside, so it looks like the lighting's improving here a bit. That's good. Okay, great. Got a window right there, big one. Okay. Next question is Robin. Robin is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Robin. How are you? I did not write for longer, but watch your vlogs and lives regularly. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm also looking forward to seeing you in Germany. I will attend the Udemy live event and hope to see you there. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, Robin, I remember your name. While we're at the events, make sure you send me a message. Okay, send me a message over LinkedIn if you want to, or just come look me up, and then we'll spend an afternoon together if you want. And I can humbly provide you with my thoughts on how to make a Udemy course, because I've made every mistake there is to make in the world. And if you want, I'm actually going to be there a couple days early doing this broadcast from Berlin this October. And if you want, I got a hotel suite. And I'm going to have a bunch of people, if they want, in the audience as well. And you can ask questions in the studio audience at the Four Seasons Hotel, which will be a lot of fun. Thank you. And for those of you interested in going to Udemy Live, and I never get compensated by ever mentioning any product or service, whatever. I'm an independent libertarian on my own. Ooh, I just told you my political preference there. But if you want to know more about this Udemy Live event, you can go to www.udemylive.com. It's an annual event. It's a lot of fun. It's in Berlin this year, and it's actually in October. All right. So looking forward to meeting you, Robin. Thank you. All right. EJ is saying, hey, Chris, glad to be back after a long hiatus. Hope all is better than last time. Thank you. Things are awesome. Things are great. I'm in Mississauga, which actually Mississauga is right by Toronto. And this city has a bigger population than San Francisco, but not many people know it. But it's my home and I love it. And I'm having Tim Hortons coffee, which I absolutely love. Okay. And Robin is saying, I would love to hear, is it going with your MBA, if you can still share any updates about that? Yeah, so that's a great question. So what you can do if you want, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Give me a second here. I got, oops, spilled a bit of coffee there. My mom's going to kill me, dude. Damn it. Here's what I'll do. I'll turn this cushion upside down, and hopefully she won't know it. Damn it. Okay, I'll clean that up later. I have a drinking problem with Canadian coffee here. But what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you where to go to get more details on the MBA degree program. So what you do is you go to my website here, Haroun Ventures or Haroun Education Ventures. And then up at the top here, there's the MBA program. And you can click on this and get a lot of updates. My mom is going to murder me. Oh my God. What she doesn't know won't hurt her. I'm going to clean this myself later. Okay. And then what you can do is you can click on here, get updates or the trailer, important dates, requirements, and FAQ. And so the FAQ, or frequently asked questions, hopefully answers every question we possibly have about the degree program. And you'll notice I haven't been promoting it very much. And the reason is because we've gotten so many applications. And I want to try and cap it at 100. And we have tons. But if you're on my webcast regularly and I recognize you and whatnot, and you're proactive, just apply, and I'm not supposed to say this, but I'll do my best to get you in. Okay. And then if money's an issue for you, and I'm not going to make money on this, by the way. It's a $499 program. It's 1 to 2 years online. I dedicate tons of time to it. And if you have money issues, please don't tell me until after you get accepted, and then I'll work with you and I will provide you with a scholarship. Okay, I give you my word on that. Okay, so why are you charging at all, Chris? I'm charging because I have to charge something, otherwise people won't take it seriously. It's kind of like a gym membership. If you pay for a gym membership, you're going to go more often than not. Okay, but all the questions are here. For early acceptance, click on important dates here. You got to apply this month by the 31st of August. Okay, and then we'll let you know pretty quickly on whether or not you've been accepted. And the program starts on December 2nd. It's going to be fun. It's going to be something like, it's going to be edutaining. I'm going to make every single episode, hopefully like the John Oliver show, where he goes, welcome, welcome, welcome. But I have my own style. And I have a green screen in my studio back in San Francisco. And I've invested a lot also in other things like a treadmill. So I can actually we can walk to different headquarters of tech companies like Facebook, Google, whatever it is. And in the background, you'll see it move with me. It'll be fun. And by the way to paint a treadmill green is you get a roller with green paint, and then you turn the treadmill on. No, sorry, no more dad humor. Yeah, but if you have any additional questions on the MBA degree program, just read this here or email admissions@harounventures.com. And Wrigley's done a fantastic job with that. So thank you, Wrigley. Wrigley works with me. He's awesome, dude. He's amazing. Okay, let me go back here. And this is where I spilled the coffee. I think my mom's out playing golf, but it's right here. Actually, it might blend in with the couch too. Okay, great. Kalapita, thank you. Same to you. Jason, who's from Australia, and Jason is saying, "Good day, Chris. Good day, mates. And I'm so sorry I've got Crocodile Dundee in my head now." He's saying, "I drove through Mississauga. Oh, cool. On my East Coast North American road trip vacation. We also passed by Harvard. Couldn't help thinking of your channel." Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. That's very cool. Very cool. And if you're ever in the Bay Area, and this goes for anybody in this call, If you want, I can actually have you in my studio audience, my new studio at my house during the weekly calls. Just send me a LinkedIn message and I'll bring you on board. It'll be a lot of fun. Appreciate it. I went to Harvard to visit. I wouldn't get in, please. And I wanted to go to law school years ago. And I just saw the movie A Few Good Men, like back in 92 or whatever it was. And so I drove down to Harvard Law. And I read a book called 1L by Scott Turow, who also wrote Presumed Innocent. And the book 1L is all about Harvard Law. And so I went down and I sat in on classes, and I was like I'd ever get in, please. I was bored to tears. Everyone was so argumentative. And so I don't know if you're a jerk before you go to law school or after. Not all of them are jerks, please. Civil rights lawyers, I love you. But I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And so the message I want to kind of impart upon you is that do what you love doing. Never do it because you care what other people think of you. And I was insecure. I wanted people to think, oh, wow, he's a lawyer. That's great. Kind of like my older brother, Jamie, who I love. He's my hero. He's a doctor. And my dad's a doctor as well. And once my brother got into medical school, I was like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? And I thought, okay, to please other people, maybe I'll be a lawyer. There's no happy lawyers, please. And you got to do what you want to do in your life. And my parents never pressured me to become a lawyer or anything. It was just me putting it on myself. Do what you love doing. And I promise you that you'll be happy and the money will follow. If you tell yourself you're going to work, then with all due respect, you're doing it wrong. You got to find your passion. You got to find your raison d'être. What was the reason that you were put on this earth? And Mark Twain had that great quote, which is, the two most important days in your life are, number one, the day you're born, and number two, the day you find out why. Okay? If you chase money, you lose your dreams and your money. If you chase your dreams, as long as you're willing to fail a couple times, they will come true. I promise you. Look at J.K. Rowling. She failed 29 times before any publisher signed her up. And then in the long run, the money will follow. It always does. That's right. It always does. Anybody that wanted to change the world never did it for money. They did it just because they're passionate about it. Think with this first, and this will work a lot better. Okay. All right. Dude, the coffee is drying up. What's that? Do you want to come in? Yeah. Okay. I want to bring my little sister, Elizabeth, in here. I want to introduce you to her. She is awesome. And I'm going to have her sit right here beside me. All right, sit here. Watch the cables, please. Are we live and stuff? Yeah, we're live. Sit.
So this is how it works?
This is how it works. Okay, everyone. Oh. This is my clone, my sister.
Hi.
Mwah. Love you.
Hi. So you look here, you look here, you look here.
So, yeah, you look in the camera. Yeah. Right there. Yeah, those are them. And I'll move this over here a bit.
Okay.
So we're both on the webcast together. Okay. And so if I was a girl, I would look like this, but not as pretty. Right.
Hi.
And Yaba, we called her Yaba growing up because Elizabeth's kind of hard to say. Right. So Yaba, that's what we called her.
Yaba.
Yeah, that's right.
Where do you see questions and stuff?
Dude, I did it again. Look at this. I spilled coffee. Mom is going to murder me.
Yeah.
It's been documented on the internet now. I'm in trouble. So I see the questions here.
Oh, hey, that's me.
That's you. Yeah, there's a 30-second delay. And so there's a bunch of questions in between that people have asked. I'll come back to those questions. If anybody has questions for my sister. So tell us about yourself.
Oh, so I'm a mom. I'm actually a homeschool mom right now. We recently moved to Mississippi from Tampa. And I have a 6 and an 8-year-old. And
I pulled her hair when she was, I still do it.
So annoying.
I'm a man-child.
And this will be my last year homeschooling, and then I'm going to go and find my passion because my brother's inspired me so much. And
which brother?
This one, and this one only. Just kidding, Jamie, if you ever watch these. So yeah, so what I'm going to do, go back to school probably for interior design and do flipping of houses and stuff, and that's what I've just always wanted to do, and
nice.
And I'm going to do it.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So I love that. You stated your goal. You make it public. You tell people.
Now I have to do it.
That's right. That's right. And so Tony Robbins, he said that the reason that people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January is because they don't set a deadline date. So when we set goals, we set deadline dates. So when are you going to achieve these goals by?
So this will be my last year doing the homeschooling, and then I would like to start in August of next year.
Cool.
like to begin it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's great. Good for you. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. So Elizabeth has 2 wonderful children. They're here right now. They're perfect. They're amazing. Her husband Jared is awesome. I talk to him every single Sunday, and I can talk to you too if you want on Sundays, Kate.
Thanks,
But
yeah.
I usually talk to Jared.
Okay.
Yeah. And Jared is actually so he went through rehab. And what he's doing is he's creating this unbelievable business model, which helps a lot of people. It's basically what I do, but better, because he helps people with substance abuse issues. And I'll have him on the call one week as well. And Jared is he's setting up a studio, and he's also got patients as well. So he's doing great. He really inspires me. Okay.
He's doing a lot of great things. He's turned his life over completely, and he's a completely different person, and he's trying to help the community and help people who are suffering globally too. Yeah. So we're really proud of him.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. And just remember, rehab is for quitters.
Don't even say that.
I'm sorry. I can't take that back. I'm so sorry. No, in a good way, because they quit like what they did. Dude, I am one comment away from destroying my life. You know that, right? I feel I'm leaving, like my guard is down because my sister's here. No, but I say I would love my heart. It's for people that have stopped. Yeah. Okay, good. Excellent.
Well, and it's great too, because rehab's not for everyone, and so there's a lot of different ways that I think that there can be outreach for people to come into the office one-on-one. A lot of people can't afford it. A lot of people can't, be away from their families and from their lives. And so I think having an online way to rehabilitate people is going to be helpful to the community and for people who can't come in and put their lives on hold. That's and everything else. I think it's awesome from the comfort of your own house.
Yeah. God bless them. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look at our path in life and we kind of question, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Then years later, you look back upon it and you're so grateful to God that it happened.
Totally.
His path is amazing.
Totally.
It's great. It's great. Okay, cool.
Okay. I can go now?
Yeah, no, not yet. There's questions for you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so.
Hello, sis. Oh, hi.
Yeah. Yeah, go up saying hello, sis.
Hi.
All right, and so a question from us, which is, hey, Yaba.
Oh, hi.
See, everyone knows you're Yaba now.
Okay, I guess, that's my name.
Yeah. Hey, Yaba, tell us about Chris's childhood.
He was the best ever. You're 8 years older, right? 8 years older?
Yeah.
And it was just always so fun and always so sweet and always so uplifting, pulling my hair constantly. Always would make videos for my sister and I, would always do fun things with us. Always so positive. It was like the saddest thing ever when he went away to McGill University. That was like a really hard time for all of us. And just the best, just always fun and jovial and a happy person. And just always positive, just always innately positive. Just wonderful person.
That.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. You can
now say
pay me later. Yeah.
Say some of the bad stuff now. Go ahead. It's okay.
No.
I'm fully transparent. You all know my life story. Yeah. What did I do? Tell me something how I teased you or something.
The good Chichi and the bad Chichi?
Oh, yeah. What was that? Well, what is Chichi?
Oh, Chichi. I guess they don't know Chichi. Well, that's Chris's nickname. So he's Chichi to us. How did you get that, from Jamie?
I have no idea.
So he's Chich. That's how we know him.
Yeah. We don't know how to say names in our family. So she's Yaba, because Elizabeth's hard to pronounce. And I guess my mom called me Christopher or Chrissy. Yeah. That's how I became Chichi.
Yeah.
Okay, good Chichi, bad Chichi.
Yeah, good Chichi, bad Chichi. Yeah. So there was like duality to Chris. Like I think there was like just a fun, maybe darker side to him, liking to tease his sisters on a not so sweet level, but always fun,
What was a good Chichi and bad Chichi?
So he would go behind the curtains sometimes when I was younger. And he would come out as the bad Chichi. Like he would make us think that he was a different person, and he would, chase us around and maybe do not nice things, or
like what?
Oh my God, the donkey rides were the worst. So Katie is our sister. She's 16 months older than I am.
Love you, Katie.
Love Katie. And Chris would give Katie, a horsey back ride, and she would ride on his back, and it'd be so much fun. They'd go around, and he'd be like, okay, yeah, but it's your turn. And I was so excited. Like I finally got attention, and I would get on his back to go for a ride, and he would go, and he would fall asleep. And it was hard for me.
It was hard. I'm so sorry.
It was funny. It's really not a big deal.
It's awful.
He was sweet.
Yeah, you're going to file a lawsuit then?
I really was.
Okay.
I was on the cusp.
I'm sorry.
I was on the cusp.
Awful. Now you all know I'm just an awful person.
The best.
It's out there. The
best.
It's cool. No. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second here. Let's see. Hold on a second. Cyan is saying, hi, great family. Can you tell us where you're originally from in terms of ethnicity? Oh, would love to. Yeah. So my father is he's Egyptian, so we're half Egyptian. Yeah. And he immigrated from Egypt in 1967 to come to Canada. My mother is half Lebanese. She was born in Vancouver. And the other half is, what are we, Scottish, Irish, French, all that stuff, melting pot. We're Canadian and proud of it, right? That's why we're drinking Tim Hortons here. So that's us. That's who we are. That's who we are. And thanks for that question too. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions for Yaba. Let's see.
It's not hard to be Chris's sister. No, he's the best ever.
Oh, Calipita is asking, is it hard to be Chris's sister?
No, it's so fun being Chris's sister.
But we got to say some other stuff too,
Why?
No.
Oh, sorry.
You're still on that one.
Oh, I'm stuck on that one. Is it hard to be Chris's sister? No, it's amazing. He's the best ever.
Oh, thank God.
You're welcome. He's so sweet. We miss him so much, and every time he comes to visit, it's always just the best. Yeah. It's always exciting to see Chichi because he's a hard worker,
But not the bad Chichi.
Not the bad Chichi. Yeah. He can stay behind the curtain.
Yeah. But what do you? They're probably wondering, how was I bad? Like, what did I do?
Specific things?
Yeah.
Aside from the horsey?
Yeah. No, like the bad Chichi. What does that mean?
What do you mean? Like bad Chichi, like tease, like curtain Chichi. Like you'd come out and you would be like the mean, like I don't know, like teasing and stuff.
Like Gargamel?
Like Gargamel, yeah.
We
Gargamel,
watched the Smurf,
dark.
or Schrumpf for people in Europe, right? Is that right?
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
The next question I've got is Adisha saying, "Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
Why and where in Mississauga are you moving to?
Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi. Oh my God, dude, I can't write.
How did that happen?
MISSISSIPPI.
Yes.
Okay. Where? Oh, cool. Yeah. Where Mississippi you at?
So that's where my husband's from, and that's actually where the community is that he's helping locally now, where they have a big drug problem actually. So he's gone there, and he's there to help the community on the coast of Mississippi.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does he have a website?
He does. It's escapeaddiction.net.
Escapeaddiction.net. Okay,
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And we did a webcast about 2 months ago, and I never told you this, but this is when the hurricane hit you.
Oh, yeah.
And you lost the little goat house or something.
Oh, yeah, the tornado. Yeah.
And it was, and for those of you who remember, it was actually during this webcast. And I was looking at my texts and everything, and I asked everyone to pray for.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, of course,
thank you, everyone.
So all the prayers worked. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see what's next. So Gorab is saying, was Chris ambitious from his childhood?
Always. He was always a step ahead with technology and with everything. And
I was a geek.
But yeah, he loved his watches, and this is the coolest thing ever, right?
Yeah, for Christmas one year, I got a calculator watch, and I kept saying, it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
and she teases me about that.
And you had a Mac, right? The Macintosh Apple computer, like way before anybody else. Remember that little?
My dad bought it, 1987 or something like that.
And then I remember you even saying, and I thought you were so like, what is he talking about? I remember you saying, we were on a subway once, I think, and people had newspapers, and they were so cumbersome and annoying. And you said, one day these are all going to be on a little device on a little rectangular screen. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And here we have our iPhones.
Yeah.
How did you know?
It's amazing. And I remember Warren Buffett was on a panel years ago, and it was about the future of the newspaper industry. And the executive vice president of New York Times was saying newspapers will always be around. It's the way we get our news, et cetera. And Warren Buffett said, if the internet was invented before newspapers, would they still exist? And it was fascinating, but Warren Buffett keeps things very, very simple. Very simple. And that's why he's very successful. He thinks longer term. Like with Coca-Cola, he made a fortune on Coca-Cola. And he said, he thought to himself in the early days when he invested in that Atlantic company, in 10, 20 years, will people drink more Coca-Cola or less? Like really, really simple stuff. That's how he's done it. Same thing with Walmart and all these great investments. Okay, great. Let's see. Oh, I'm glad they asked this. I was going to ask you to show this too. Okay, is that, Amin is saying, is that Arabic on your arm?
Yes,
Show us what you got.
This says Silas and Sierra. This was my first tattoo, maybe a bit of a midlife crisis.
Your kids, right? Oh, I
yes.
love it. I love it.
And it's backwards. So it's Silas and Sierra.
Okay.
And I did that, to commemorate my kids and also my dad. And I was 35 when I got that. And yes,
That's awesome.
Yeah, yes,
Good for you.
tattoos do hurt.
It did hurt.
Yeah, it did.
How'd they do it? You have it on one arm or both arms?
Just one arm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are your kids. Okay.
And I'm proud. And I'm proud to be
Good for you.
Egyptian. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very cool. So when they do a tattoo, how do they do it?
They do it with a little like needly thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I have no idea.
And it's uncomfortable. It's totally uncomfortable because my husband's covered. He's got like a big sleeve, so I wanted to be cool too.
He's a big guy.
I wanted to be cool.
Yeah.
So
You want to be hip.
Yeah, I want to be hip.
Yeah.
Hop. So anyway, no, it hurts. Totally, it hurts.
Okay, cool.
But I don't regret it, and I'm proud.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Max is saying, is Egypt dangerous for traveling? It is. And so Elizabeth and I have never been there. My dad grew up in this small town 2 hours south of Cairo called Sohag. And by the way, and I had my dad do this recently, if you have relatives that are from a place in the world where you're not and you've never visited, go to Google Earth and do a screen recording. And have your parents or your relative walk you through where they grew up.
That's such a good idea.
It's good just to It's fantastic. Yeah. But we've never been there. We'd love to go. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's cool. Excellent. Oh, I got to say one more quick story about Egypt and my dad and cameras. So
Oh, it's so sad. Poor daddy.
This is awful. I have to go there. Sorry, but negative events, they're not funny when they happen, but years later, there's some humor in them. So my dad bought the best video camera ever, and my mom never went to Egypt, and so my dad brought my mom to Egypt with the best video camera ever, and he thought that when you see the red light, that means warning, you're not recording, which makes sense, and so we all sat down. Here in Canada, and he said, "Let's look at the videos now." And all we saw was this: my mom in front of the pyramid smiling, and then smile goes away, and the camera goes down. You can see my dad walking with it.
Right, because it was reversed. So he thought the camera was on, the camera was off. When he thought it was off, it was on. So you'd see our mom for a second, and then just him walking the entire time.
But the smile disappeared.
Yeah, it was so sad.
Yeah.
Finally brought mom to Egypt, and so sad.
And then in the car, all you can see is my dad's shoes.
Yes, in the cab.
They were in very nice shoes, though.
Very nice shoes.
And then you heard my dad saying, "Jackie, close the window, please." So we heard all the behind the scenes. All the behind the scenes. Okay. Yeah. And Amin is saying, "A beautiful family. Thank you."
Bless you too. That's so sweet.
Okay, cool. And Adisha saying, "Jennifer and I are moving to Jackson soon."
Oh, no way.
And I'm planning to open a restaurant. Would love to invite you and your family.
Oh, no way.
Very
Jackson,
cool.
Mississippi. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Very nice of you.
Thank you.
Very nice
sweet.
of you. So they can get in touch with you through Jared's website, I guess.
Sure.
Okay,
for
cool.
Sure. That's awesome.
Perfect. Oh, wow. And Gorb is saying, also want to tell her that she has a really beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I appreciate that.
I don't know if I agree. No, she does have a great smile.
Oh, thanks
She's
for
great.
saying.
She's great. Okay,
Such
cool.
a nice, warm community, hey?
They're the best. They're
so
the best.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Because you get nervous with these webcasts. I always get nervous of scary people saying scary things and stuff. But you guys are very nice.
No scary stuff here.
Nice people.
These are all my family.
Aw.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, kid.
It's now bye.
Yes.
All
right. Love you. Thanks, Yaba. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for the coffee.
Okay,
I'll see you soon. Thanks. All right. Well, thanks everyone for that. All right. Let me just scroll up here, and I'm going to change this camera angle here. Hold on a second, so I can get back in screen. Yay! That's my iPhone. All right. So let me go back to the questions here, and I'll scroll up. And I'm sorry if I missed a bunch in between. Okay. All right, next question is from Subham, who's saying, "Sir, please call me Chris. I'm an engineering student of second year, and I don't want to do a job in the future. Instead, I want to start my own business. How do I do it as I don't have any ideas?" Yeah. So what I recommend doing is, and this, when I answer questions, I try to make it generic to everybody. What I recommend doing is taking my course called the Complete Business Plan course. And it will teach you how to think about coming up with different business models, and it'll help you write an entire business plan from scratch, assuming you have no finance, accounting, marketing, or any business experience at all. And so the end product of that course, the complete business plan course, is you'll have a business plan made, which is 50 to 70 pages, and I'll walk you through every step. And you'll also have a 10-page presentation ready to show investors. And I included 50 templates, which Wrigley, who works with me, did a great job creating. 50 different templates for your business plan. You select the one that you like the most, and 25 different presentation templates as well. So go through that course, and that will help you kind of crystallize your thought process when it comes to creating a business model. And the problem is that, there's that cheesy saying, which is failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people that start companies don't write a business plan. And it's quite often one of the most important decisions you'll make in your life to start your own company. And so you want to be prepared. And so as you take this course of mine, if you decide that your current business idea you're thinking of starting isn't good and you don't start it, then I've done my job because I've saved you heartache. And even if you've already started a company, you can take that course as well to help you refine your corporate strategy longer term. Yeah. And then that's the reason why I initially set up this call. I set up this call so I can help people with their business plans from that course. And it kind of morphed into this all-encompassing. Anybody join, I don't care if you take my courses or not. This is fun. All right. Robin is saying, I have a question about Udemy. Why would I publish my course on that instead of using a platform like Teachable and building out the course on myself? Thanks for all your videos and your content. Thank you. Appreciate that. So those of you that aren't familiar with Teachable, it's a website you can go to create your own courses, and you can host it on your website. So when you go to my website, harounventures.com, and you buy my courses from my website, that's using Teachable. However, Udemy is much better than me just giving you my courses on Teachable on my website. Why? Because Udemy markets all your stuff. Okay, they take I think it's a 50% fee, but it's totally worth it. I would never been able to make as much as I have humbly if I didn't have Udemy as an incredible platform. And Udemy is Google, and everyone else in ed tech is Bing. That's right. Usually the way it works in tech is one or two companies dominate and the rest don't matter. So for online shopping, for me here, at least North America, it's Amazon and everyone else is irrelevant. For search, it's Google. And then that's just how it works in most industries. And the loneliest place in the world is page 2 of Google search rankings. But what Udemy does is they help to get you on the first page, or they might send out mass email marketing campaigns, which do really, really well. And they also help to translate your courses into lots of languages. And also they set up the e-commerce payment engine so I can accept payments in every currency on the planet, which is great, So if you want to make a Udemy course, you can go to my profile on Udemy, just search for my name. Just go to Google and search Udemy Chris Haroun. And when you're on my profile page, there's a couple of courses I've made for you called 40 mistakes or 40 tips on how to make a great online course. And it's based on 40 mistakes I've made teaching on Udemy, so you can work smarter and harder and not make the same mistakes I've made. And I also have another course called Another 40 Tips. And I published the first one in 10 different languages. It's free. I don't make money off this. I just want to humbly help if I can. All right. Next up, we've got Amin is saying, do you have a master's accountancy? Do you have to master accountancy to become a good financial analyst? I don't think so. I don't think so. So accounting and finance is different. Accounting is backwards looking. You got to be precise. Okay. It's like a science. Finance is forward looking. Okay. It's more of an art. Whenever I do a financial model, I think of it like it's a blank template or a palette I'm going to paint on them. It's fun. And you got to be comfortable with uncertainty with finance because you're predicting the future. And you'll never be right. You got to be happy with that and comfortable with that. And so, yes, you do have to know the basics in accounting in order to do finance, but you don't have to be the best accountant ever to be successful as an investment banker or an investor or a financial analyst. And I teach you all the accounting stuff you need to know in a 4.5-hour course called Introduction to Finance, Accounting, Valuation, and Modeling. And by the way, I got a D in accounting when I took it at McGill University. So am I a hypocrite? Why do I mention this? Why should you learn accounting from me? Well, what happened to me was in high school, I did fine because in high school you can memorize stuff. Then I went to university and I didn't do well at first because I realized you can't memorize stuff. You have to understand it. And so I took accounting again, but the first time I was just memorizing stuff. And if you memorize financial statements and ratios, meaning assets equals liabilities plus equity, et cetera, you'll never understand it, and you'll never know how to put it to good use. So I took the course again, and I did better. Now, in my Udemy course, Introduction to Finance, Accounting, Valuation, and Modeling, what I do is I have a graphical way of teaching you all this stuff. Okay, check it out if you want. And there's, as always, all my courses, a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks. God, that felt like a cheesy infomercial. Sorry about that. All right. Next up is Adisha saying, would you please focus and talk about portfolio management, CFA level 3 core? I just passed level 2. Thanks. Yeah. So for those of you not familiar with the CFA, it's a great designation you can get. And CFA stands for Certified Financial Analyst. And it's a 3-year thing. And you write level 1 exam at night. 2 and 3 is the same thing. You don't have to attend classes. You just study in your own time and then write the exam. And when I wrote level 1, I'll never forget this. I was in New York City, and it was just after 9/11. Actually, it was early 2002. And I was in New Jersey. They sent us to New Jersey to write the level 1 exam. And it was this big warehouse, man. There's like 5,000 people in there. And before, it was really uncomfortable. I'm getting shivers just thinking about it. But we all had to stand up before the exam. And it was a nice thing that the CFA agency did. They said, before we get started, we want to have a couple minutes of silence for the following CFA charter holders that passed away on 9/11. A lot of them were in one of the Twin Towers. Yeah, sorry, a little bit off topic there. So level 1 is basically a repeat of an MBA. Level 2 has a little bit more bond accounting stuff as well, deeper. And level 3 is, it just kind of adds on top of that options, bonds, and a little bit more higher level stuff. So I think that the way to prepare for it is they recommend a lot of books to buy, which costs you like $1,000 or something. It's crazy. Don't buy those books. What I want you to do is I want you to get the Schweizer books. And I'm going to show this all to you right now, and I'll do this really, really quickly, okay? So Schweizer is a company that's owned by Kaplan, which is owned by the Washington Post, which is now owned by Jeff Bezos. Schweizer is a company that makes these test prep books. And you don't have to actually buy the original ones. What you can do is you can go to eBay and buy them as well, okay, for dirt cheap, okay? So Schweizer CFA, please spell it right, Chris. Let's see. Okay, yeah, here they are here, okay. So this here is for level 2. You can get all these books here for just $30. It's amazing. And they're basically summary books. Like I'll show you this one here, okay? This one here is for level 1. And these are all the summary books, and they're like each book is about that big, and it tells you only the stuff you need to know to pass the test, do well in the test, instead of buying all the textbooks. So what you can do is you can actually do a search here for Schweizer CFA level 3, okay? So which is what you're doing now. And I promise you, here it is here, CFA level 3, right? Look at this. Look at this. Dirt cheap. How can that be right? I don't know, but I promise you that price is very low. But you can get all these books here used over eBay for dirt cheap, and that will save you like $1,000 and your time as well. And if you have follow-up questions about that, as always, please let me know. Thank you. All right. Next question we've got is, all right. Oh, and in terms of portfolio management in general, you had a question. I apologize, I didn't answer that part of it. Just take my complete financial analyst course, okay? Because that will teach you basic portfolio management and advanced portfolio management as well, in terms of diversifying a portfolio amongst different sectors, as well as looking at beta, alpha relative to other investment classes and indexes, how much you can outperform them, sector exposure, all that good stuff. Okay, and I teach you about shorting and longs as well. So it's a diversified portfolio that's market neutral. And you can ask follow-up questions on that if you want. But take that course, that'll help you out a lot. And for those of you interested in just personal finance, if you take my complete personal finance course, you'll find that there's an exercise in there, an Excel template, which I provide you within the course, which teaches you how to create a portfolio which is diversified and consists of stocks, bonds, real estate, and commodities. All right, next question is Kurt saying, what do you think of the Canon EOS 5D Mark III for video, thinking full frame? Yeah, it's awesome. I love that. So I use that a lot. That's actually my go-to camera. That was my first camera. And for those of you who took my my course on Udemy called an entire MBA in one course, I recorded it with the Canon 5D Mark III, which came out in 2012. That camera came out in 2012. And then what I did was I bought Westcott basic lights on each side, and that's it. You can go to Amazon and search for Westcott basics, get those lights, and you're done. And then behind me, what I put for that course, you couldn't see it because it's hidden, kind of like what I have down here. I had just an old lamp, just for a 3D pop in the background. But the Canon 5D Mark III is awesome. Parts of the movie Captain America, the Winter Soldier one, were filmed with it. Saturday Night Live uses that exact camera to record many of the videos during that live program on Saturday nights in Canada, or pardon me, in America, New York City, I think. Yeah, it's a great camera. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's not 4K though. If you want to get 4K, you got to get the Mark IV version, which came out, I think, a year and a half or 2 years ago. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And if you have very technical questions about that, I'd love to answer those as well. So I have a course coming out soon, in September, actually. I'm very busy, as you can tell, in September, called Video Masterclass, the complete video course, something like that. We're still working on the title. And I'm going to explain in a heck of a lot of detail how to use that exact Mark III for you, and 10 other cameras as well. It's a wonderful camera. I love it. Now, for those of you that are doing videos using a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera, if you're recording yourself, you're going to find that after 29 minutes, it turns off or stops recording. And it's moronic. But the reason is because in Europe, the European Union basically has this very high tax on video cameras. And so a video camera is classified as a camera that records more than 30 minutes. And that's why all these DSLR cameras and mirrorless cameras stop recording at 29 minutes. You got to hit record again. So yeah, if you have follow-up questions based on that, please let me know. I know a lot about that camera and I absolutely love it. It's changed my life, actually. It's true. Okay. Great. Next question is Ramiz is saying hard work versus talent. Hard work wins every single day. I find that if you just bet on somebody or hire somebody that's very talented, quite often they've been told they're so great their whole lives that they're lazy. Okay, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. And there's this kind of entitlement that occurs sometimes as well. And I believe that you can accomplish anything you want to with hard work. And there's a great book you guys should read by Malcolm Gladwell. And it's called Outliers. And Malcolm Gladwell says that if you practice 10,000 hours, you'll become the best in the world at it. And I know it sounds crazy, but everybody in the Olympics, by the time they're about 20, they practice 10,000 hours. The Beatles practiced 10,000 hours in these seedy bars in Hamburg before they became very successful. Tiger Woods practiced 10,000 hours by the age of 10 or so golfing. That's why he's successful. Same thing with Bruno Mars. When he was a little kid growing up in Hawaii, he thought he was Michael Jackson at the age of 5. And so he practiced 10,000 hours before you even heard of him. So all these people that are very successful, they're basically 10,000 hour overnight successes, so to speak. So I will bet on hard work any day of the week. Hard work and heart can overcome any limitations that you think you have up here. Always, always, always. All right. Next up is Svapnil is saying, hi, Chris. I just completed the financial analyst training course, one of my courses. I want to ask if the sector PE is 50 and the stock PE is 45, then is it still a good valuation or an expensive valuation? Yeah. So in that case, you always have to look at the growth. Okay. So don't just buy stocks because they have a low price earnings ratio. So I'll explain what this means really quickly. So a price earnings ratio basically tells you for every $1 a company makes, how many times higher are you going to pay for that company, right? So price earnings is price divided by earnings. So a company that trades at a price earnings of 10 times, that means investors are paying 10 times that dollar for that stock. A price earnings of 50 times means investors are paying 50 times that $1, right? That the numerator is price, denominator is earnings. 50 times that $1 in earnings. The reason why some companies have higher P's than others is because of the growth rate. So let me introduce another concept now, which is price earnings divided by growth. The S&P 500, which is an index of 500 stocks that represents the U.S. economy, the average stock in the S&P 500 usually trades at 15 times earnings, price earnings of 15. And the average stock in the S&P 500 usually has about 15% earnings growth. So if we take the price earnings of 15 divided by the 15% earnings growth, that's a price to earnings to growth ratio of 1. If a company is growing, if a company is growing earnings at 20%, which is faster than the average stock in the S&P 500, then that company should trade at a higher price earnings ratio than 15. So that company should trade at 20 times that $1. Okay, so 20, and if it's growing at 20%, you take a PE of 20 divided by growth of 20%. That's a PEG ratio of 1. So with your example, you said that a certain sector has a PE of 50, and you're asking if a stock in that sector has a PE of 45. Does that mean it's cheap and you should buy it? You have to look at the growth rate. Okay, if that stock is growing at the same growth rate as the other stocks, they're at 50 times earnings, then yeah, it's probably undervalued. That's how you got to think about it in general. Don't just buy a stock because the price earnings ratio is low. You got to look at the growth as well. And the way to do that is looking at a PEG ratio. One more quick thing on this. A lot of hedge funds will short stocks that trade at a price earnings to growth ratio of 2 times, a PEG of 2. So for example, if a company has a PE of 20 and it's growing at 10% earnings, then 20, the PE divided by growth of 10% is 2, which means a PEG ratio of 2, and hedge funds might short it. By contrast, if a company is growing earnings at 10% and it trades at a price to earnings ratio of 5, then 5, the price to earnings ratio divided by the growth rate of 10%, is a price to earnings growth ratio of 0.5, which means it's usually a buy, usually, unless there's other issues embedded. And if you have follow-up questions based on that, please let me know. Thanks. All right, Jason is, and if I missed anyone's question in between, please let me know. Thanks. All right, next question is Jason, my friend from Australia. He's saying, I hear often from market analysts about changes to disruptive factors being already priced in. How much earlier does this generally occur? Yeah, so what happens is the stock market tries to discount events that are going to occur. And so what happens usually is when people think a war might erupt, what happens is stocks go down. People are worried, obviously, it's bad for the stock market. And the second the war starts, the market is usually already down a lot. And the second the war starts, the stock market goes up. The reason is because it's been priced in, it's already been anticipated. So in 2003, if you want to regression test this or back test it, in 2003, in April or so, or March or so, when the statue of Saddam Hussein fell, that's when the market bottomed. Okay, so the second the war starts, the stocks go up because it's already priced in. But if you do your research, and stocks are usually priced in over a 1 to 2 year basis. People try to factor in things that are going to occur this year or next year, which is why I always try to humbly challenge all of us to value stocks based on our estimates in 5 or 10 years. And so for me, and I've done very well with expensive stocks, or people thought were expensive, they weren't to me. I owned LinkedIn for years. Yeah, it broke my heart when Microsoft bought them because I loved it as a publicly traded company. But I remember when I owned it, people would say, Chris, you're crazy. It trades at 100 times earnings this year or next year. I'd say, no, dude, you're missing the point. I wouldn't say you're missing the point. I'd say, no, dude. This stock is trading at 4 times my earnings estimates in 5 years. And so when I value all my companies, and the most successful investors, when they value companies, they don't look at price earnings this year or next year. What they do is they look at price earnings ratios based on their estimates in 5 or 10 years. The longer the view, the wiser the intention. Always be long-term when you invest. And governments actually reward you for being long-term focused. What does that mean? Well, in most countries, if you make money on a stock in less than a year, you're going to pay higher taxes than if you own it for more than a year. And it's just a different capital gains tax structure. Every tax code is different, though. So governments kind of reward patience. All right. Next up is Calipita is saying about motivation. I can recommend the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. That's awesome. I love that movie too, man. I love it. It's with Will Smith and his real son in real life. And I don't know if you know this, but in the end scene, when he's walking in San Francisco, in Pacific Heights, the rich area in San Francisco, there's another man that turns around to look at them. And that's the man that the movie was based on. It's fantastic. And my favorite scene from that movie, and you guys should Google it, is the one where Will Smith is with his son, and his son is playing basketball. And Will Smith says to him, you know, you should just give up. Like, you're never going to amount to anything in basketball, so just whatever. Just move on to something else. And the kid, who's like 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever it is, he throws the basketball aside gently, and he kind of has his head down, walks away. And then Will Smith stops him and says, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something. I love that. I love that. Check that out. And Will Smith, he's one of my heroes. The guy's amazing. And he's very motivational too. He's great. He's great. He's got an amazing vlog. Check it out. He's incredible. And if you get a chance, a little side note, watch the movie Ali, where Will Smith does a wonderful Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is one of my other heroes too. All right. And if you guys, if you can, there's a documentary on HBO. If you get HBO, or you can stream it online, pay for it. There's a documentary on Muhammad Ali that came out recently. It's a 2 or 3 part series that LeBron James made, and it is, oh my God, it's amazing. Muhammad Ali is incredible, dude. He stood up to the moronic side of the anti or civil rights movement, I should say. I'm not going to go into much more detail. Just watch that series, so you'll absolutely love it. I'm just getting shivers thinking about it. All right. Nick is saying, and Nick is from the country Georgia. Nick is saying, hey, Chris, how are you? I'm great. How are you? And Nick is saying, how was your vacation? It's great. It's going really well. And I love what I do. I love what I do to the extent that I can't stop what I'm doing on vacation. I just love it. I love it. So that's why I did the call 2 weeks ago in Barcelona. And I'm doing the call today from Mississauga in my parents' apartment here in Canada. Vacation is great. It's amazing. Yeah. Oh, you started learning Python, tried something new. It's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. And if anybody is stuck in a career, I don't care how old you are, and you're not sure what your prospects are like, and you think, I missed the computer science boat or the programming boat. No, you didn't. It's never too late to start over, dude. So what you can do is go to Udemy and take technology courses, how to program. There's a great guy named Rob Percival, really good guy, and he teaches courses on how to code from scratch. And Angela Yu also does a great job. They're both British too, which means they speak gooder than me. But take those courses. They're wonderful. And I don't care if you don't have a background in tech at all. You can learn from scratch. And the last thing I'll say is that since the 1950s, the average global life expectancy is now 26 years older. So that means that all of you are 26 years younger than you think. So if you're 56 and you want to start over, you're actually 30. All right. And the average age of somebody starting a company in America is now 52. Think about that. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right. And Kurt is saying the mountain analogy is beautiful and hopeful. Thanks. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And then Talk with Charles, who I'm going to call TWC, is saying, when does your hobby turn to a business? When can you quit your job to turn your hobby into a business? Yeah. So what I recommend doing is, when you start a side hustle, and it might be, sorry, it's just my phone. Turn this off. Sorry about that. So when you have a side hustle and you're making money on the side from teaching online, like I did, or doing anything else, once your 6-month trailing revenue is higher than your annual salary, then do it, okay? And don't include months that are very high, like seasonally high. So for me, the biggest months are January, because it's back, it's New Year's resolution. People take courses, as well as November because of Black Friday. And so for me, I would not include January and November in the 6-month trailing. Okay, that's a safe way to do it. Yeah. But I'm excited for you. If you're thinking about it, good for you. And if I can empower and help all of you to start your own company, then I'll feel great about myself. That's why I do this. I want to help you live your life on your own terms. Now, there's a lot of great companies to work for and a lot of great corporate cultures, but a lot of them don't have great corporate cultures, and they suck the life out of you. It's like corporate lobotomy. That's what I call it. And that happened to me, man. I'm not going to tell you which firm, but I worked at a company, and it hit me one day. I was like, I don't laugh like I used to laugh. I show up to work and I get nervous in an elevator when somebody very senior's in the elevator with me. I change who I am. I don't want to change who I am. I just want to be me. And the only way to really be you and live your life in your own terms and be as happy as you were when you were a lot younger is to start your own company. Yeah, I love it. And you'll know that it's for you if you get up in the morning and you tell yourself, I'm not going to work. I'm just doing what I love doing. And I love doing what I'm doing here. I love it. And when I look at the clock in the morning, if I get up, like if it's 4 a.m. and I open my eyes, usually when I work for other people, I was like, oh, thank God I get another 2 hours sleep, whatever. Now I'm like, F and A, which means frickin' A. I'm going to get up now because I just love what I'm doing so much. Okay. Oh, look at that. The lighting is changing there. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to change the lighting here. I'm going to close the shades. Okay. This is what happens when you record with natural light. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm just going to close the shades here. Okay, that's a bit better, right? Yeah, I think it's better. And if you guys think I should change the lighting at all with this, let me know. I'll just zoom in a bit here. Oh, one more quick thing I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. So I got into a car accident back in 2008. Yeah, 2008 when I was starting my hedge fund. And my back is a little bit messed up. It's fine. It doesn't hurt much. But what I did was I got this. And what I do is I love to work lying down. Why not? Or watch a movie in bed when I'm going to sleep. But I travel with this thing. And this thing here, it's really robust too. It basically, you can put your iPad in here, okay? Or your iPhone or computer, whatever it is. And then this here, you just attach to anything. And so I just kind of was like that last night. And I lie down and I work sometimes too. Why not be happy when you work? Why not be relaxed, right? If we lie down and watch TV, why can't we lie down to work if we love doing what we're doing? So anyway, that's what I do. All right, there's carpet there. My iPad's fine. All right, let's see what the next question is. All right, are you coming to Denmark also? Otherwise, I will come to Berlin. Yeah, please come to Berlin, please. And I'll set up a bunch of meetings with you guys who want one-on-one as well, just to get to know you better. It'd be kind of fun. But unfortunately, I'm not coming to Denmark anytime soon. I wish I was. But I'm going to be in Berlin. Go to udemylive.com to see the details of the Udemy Live event. Come to the event if you want to learn about teaching and all that stuff. And I can teach you there as well if you want, humbly, based on the mistakes I've made. Okay, great. Next is John Mcdonald. And there's a great Toronto Blue Jay player, second baseman named John Mcdonald. And he actually lived here in Mississauga. Poor guy passed away recently. Okay, so John is saying, my startup recently failed after 2 years as we had no cash to compete and never had any operations to get investors. All we had was a buggy app. I'm starting again by getting a board of advisors. Good for you, John. Good for you. And if you take my complete business plan course, I help you create your board of advisors as well. Okay, I teach you how to set it up and how to place their images, etc., on a one-pager in your investor 10-page presentation in that course. But I teach you exactly how to get a board, how to set it up, and also how to network to get investors. So take that course if you want to. Hopefully it'll help out as well. And in terms of you saying that your venture didn't work out, that's not a bad thing. You learn, and it's actually a badge of honor to start a company in the Valley, even if you're not successful. That's okay. You are successful. You are, because you learned. And what happens is people that are very successful, they failed a lot. You just don't hear those failures, right? Like Bill Gates, people don't realize this. His first company failed. It was called Trafo Data. And it was basically these wires on the road, when you go over, ba-bump, ba-bump, and it counts cars. He failed at it. A lot of people have. You'll never amount to anything in life unless you fail a lot. And I don't see them as failures. I see them as learning experiences. And Michael Jordan said that I failed over and over and over again, and that is why I succeed. It's pretty cool, huh? It's pretty cool. All right. Now, you guys can see the video of me here. The resolution is a little bit different online than what I see in my camera here. If you want me to make it a little bit brighter, because I just shut the shades here, let me know and I'll crank up these lights here. And I operate them Bluetooth based. It's kind of fun. I am a nerd. I get it. All right. Good. And John, let me know when you start your new company if you want. I want to be a part of it. I want to help you grow that. And I want to be a part of it, meaning on this weekly webcast. Ask me questions along the way if you want. Yeah. All right. And don't use your own money to start your company. Okay. Use a little bit, right? And this goes for everybody. What I want you to do is I actually want you to use other people's money. Okay? I want you to raise money from other people unless you have a lot yourself. There's a lot of investors that want to invest in you. All you got to do is network. Go to my website, harounventures.com, and download my networking book for free. It'll teach you how to get meetings with anybody so you can raise money that way. Other people's money, always, if you can. You're going to give up part of your company to them, but you're also not going to hurt your own personal budget or put your children or your family's standard of living at risk. Yeah, and don't ever get a loan from a bank because banks are chicken. If you're literally a couple days late with the loan, they can come after you and take away everything. Last thing I'll say is please register your company so that, and talk to a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, register it so that if there's ever issues, then nobody can touch you. They can just touch the company. Yeah. Wow, I talk a lot. All right. All right, next up is Adisha saying, excited about my travel to San Francisco. I have requested information about meeting you during September 3rd to September 10th. Please confirm. Thanks. Yeah. So the best thing to do, Adish, is send me a LinkedIn message. And in the message, just state what Thursday you're going to be there. And I'll have you come into my studio at my house. It'll be fun during this call. All right. Santosh is saying, hi, sir. Please call me Chris. I'm Santosh from India. I purchased one of your courses from Udemy. I want you to create a course on VBA Excel, please. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So VBA, for those of you not familiar with it, stands for Visual Basic for Applications. So Microsoft makes this great product. It's so much fun called Visual Basic. And I've coded a lot with that in the past. And they also make a version that's part of the Microsoft Office suite. And so you can insert buttons and then you can put code behind it or record macros, and the macros will create code for you automatically. So I started making a course on Excel and including that. Then I stopped. Because I want to move on to do something else. And I felt that it didn't seem right for me to create a course on Excel when I already taught people how to use Excel in my complete financial analyst training course. So take that course if you can, please. And one more thing about VBA. I love VBA, but I find that macros and code can be susceptible to viruses. And so that's why in all the Excel spreadsheets that I use in all my courses, there are absolutely no macros, which means there's no VBA. But I love VBA. And the best way to learn VBA is there's this great company called SamsNet, and they teach you technology topics. So SamsNet has a book called Teach Yourself Visual Basic for Applications in 21 Days. It's a lot of fun. And that's how I learned it years ago. All right. And Maz is saying, hi, Chris, good to see you. This is a cool sofa. Be careful of drinking coffee. You're right. Actually, dude, I'm looking for my mom. My kids, they call this a hidden Tesla, for those of you who play Clash of Clans, because mom can appear sometimes. And I don't want to nerd joke, sorry, but this coffee is drying up here, so we're okay. All right, next up is EJ. Chris, do you generally live with a ketogenic diet? I don't know what the word ketogenic means, so give me 1 second. Let me just do a quick Google search on that. And if it comes up quickly, I'll answer that question. Ketogenic, hold on 1 second. Ketogenic diet is a low-carb, high-fat diet. Oh, yeah. Good question. I do. So I don't really consume much complex carbohydrates. I consume a lot of protein and fat as well. And people are misguided when it comes to dieting or your diet in general. People think fat is bad because it turns into fat. because 1 gram of fat has 9 calories versus 1 gram of protein or carbs have 4 calories each. It doesn't matter how many calories something is. What matters is how much complex carbohydrates you're consuming. And if you decrease the amount, not entirely, but decrease the amount of complex carbohydrates like rice, bread, and pasta, if you decrease that a lot, then your body won't retain as much fat. And so here's a cool hack. Whenever you buy any product, including NutriBars, look on the back of it and see what the carbohydrates is. Then you deduct, right below carbs, they have to show the amount of fiber. So what you do is this. I can give you an example. Let's say this protein bar in my hand here it says in the back here, 20 grams carbohydrates, and 18 grams of fiber. What you do is this. You go 20 carbs minus 18 grams of fiber, that's 2. Your body thinks that this thing only has 2 carbohydrates. It's called net carbs. You take carbohydrates minus the amount of fiber, and that's what your body thinks the number of carbohydrates are. So always look at net carbs, always. And if you have follow-up questions on that, please let me know. And if you're going to do complex carbohydrates like rice, bread, whatever, do it before you exercise. It'll give you more energy, not afterwards. Yeah. All right. And Adish is saying, I'm applying to the MBA program. Awesome. Awesome. Be great to have you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And Gaurav is saying, hi, Chris. Good morning. Well, good morning to you as well. He also said, hello, sis. Okay. Now let me catch up here. I'm at the point where you guys were asking questions. My sister, who was on earlier. And John is saying, will Social Security last for me? And John is based in Rochester, so I'm assuming you're asking about American Social Security. So I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. Ignore the media. Ignore the media. Things are good. Okay. America has always had debt. You don't run countries like they're companies. You don't. Right? It's a little bit different. There's debt financing for countries, which exists, and America is too big to fail. And I don't think that the Chinese would ever allow that to happen. And I know it's a little bit off topic given the trade war issues, but China and America are attached at the hip. China relies on America for the export market for now. China's trying to build its own consumer market internally, so they're not relying on America. America's GDP, meaning the revenue of America, is about 30% of the world's revenue or the world's GDP. So, and there's a lot of debt, but the last institution, so to speak, to go belly up would be the United States, and that's why it went up a lot, because it's seen as a flight to quality, kind of like gold is. So I'm not worried about Social Security, and if you're worried about Social Security, question why you're worried about it. Is it because the media is talking about this? And the media, by the way, they try to make us freak out about everything because there's a crisis with media. The younger generation doesn't watch TV; they watch YouTube. And so they're watching YouTube. And so media companies, the only way to get us to watch their programs, or clickbait, so to speak, is through shock value titles. Even like Christine, my wife, watches TV. I don't watch TV. But the news will say something terrible. We'll talk about it after this commercial break. So I just I ignore the media entirely. And for those of you that are investors or want to invest your own money, please do the same as well. Always come up with your own investment thesis. If all you did, and if you had a lot of spare time in your hands, if all you did was watch TV, you'd freak out and think the world is ending. It's not. Things are amazing, and they're only going to get better. All right. Next up is, let me see here. Hold on one second. All right, this happens sometimes. And we're switching over to use another application for questions soon. Mississippi. Somebody asked that question. MISSISSI. All right, I've lost my space, guys. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. Sorry about this, guys. All right, here we go. All right. Next up is Pregs is saying, "Hi Chris, how do you deal in corporate when close friends are customers or suppliers, and you have to engage with them on a regular basis? It's not easy because I have to be careful. I don't say too much. Yeah, I don't. I just wouldn't disclose anything that you don't want the rest of the world to know ever, through email or through voice, whatever. Just be careful. And if I'm misreading your question, please let me know. But just feel comfortable or accept the fact that everything you write down in emails or in texts or in live casts like this or in voicemails or on the phone can be publicly accessed by somebody in the future forever. So just don't disclose too much. Yeah. And if I didn't answer that question properly, please let me know. But it's tough when you have close friends as customers or family as investors. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend delineating, have a line in the sand. You know, your friends and family over here, don't let them mix in with money because some of them won't be your friend if things don't go well. And keep your business contacts separate as well. I wouldn't mix both. It's like oil and vinegar. And Adish is asking for Jared's website. Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but hey, Sierra. Hey, Elizabeth. Yaba. Come here. Sorry, I'm going to call my sister to ask her what it is, the website. So Jared's her husband, and earlier in the call I mentioned he has a substance abuse website and all that stuff. What's Jared's website again? Okay, escapeaddiction.net. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Elizabeth. All right, thanks. Okay, great. Yeah. And Abu Pro, how are you, man? So Abu Pro is from Sweden, and he's a pilot, which is why he's got that awesome little icon there of a pilot. And then Rudy is saying, "What's up, Chris? Good morning." And I agree with you on your comment, Abu Pro, by the way. Yes. Good morning to you too, Rudy. Rudy started an insurance company a little while ago. He quit his big corporate job, ball player, but he gets a chance to play for Notre Dame here. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, hold on 1 second. In a second, okay? Hold on 1 second, guys, okay? Hold on. I'm going to put text over here, just saying overlay, saying I'll be right back. I'm sorry, guys. I will be back in a minute. Thanks. My kids get off the internet. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right, hold on. Issues. Hey, Wrigley, do you see anything?
I do, yeah.
Do you see me? Do you see me talking right now?
I mean, I paused it. I don't know if, yeah.
What do you see?
It says live.
But do you see me talking?
You're sitting on the couch and it says it's still live, I assume so.
You don't see it saying we're having.
It was buffering, and I was in a back room, I came back.
Yeah, just go
Router and
just go live. Can you see me though if you go live?
here, let's see, going live. Yeah.
What do you see though? Like fast forward to the end.
You're the same shot, same initial shot, you're on the couch,
Do you see it saying we are having technical issues? Please stand by.
voting. Yeah, it's just buffering. It says it's buffering, I think.
Yeah.
I think after I refreshed it didn't come back.
Are there? Can you write? Are there questions?
Yeah, do you want me to just write on
Yes. Yeah. Say
the font that you're gonna
yeah,
get right back?
saying technical issues. Please stand by. Thanks.
Yeah.
And are there? But how many people are people asking questions?
Yes, actually, 'cause there's a list of questions. Yeah, I don't know what was the last one you
No, 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 no,
I said it a few times, but there are questions.
no, no. Wrigley, are people saying what's going on? Okay.
This one. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, internet is not working at my house now.
Yeah, yeah, things are gonna make people live now.
All right.
Yeah, it was fine for a while. It was fine for a while, and then it just, yeah, it started buffering, and then I guess when I refreshed it stopped.
Yeah.
And now it's just buffering. But it's fine because it shows live, right? I think you're supposed
Sucks. All right. Yeah, it says video is stopped. It says 3 watching now. Probably everyone's gotten off, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it show 5?
A couple people came back. Says 5, yeah. I guess what's happening is people are just closing browser windows and refreshing. That's why that's fluctuating.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
It's unfortunate. Oh well, it was a good webcast until then, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is. I don't know if there's a way for you to end it and restart it again using the same link. Because when you do that, then
Yeah.
all your subscribers get a notification that you like.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is oh. I think it might work now. Hold on. All right, I think we're good. We might be back. Okay. Let me know if you can see me.
Oh, yep, not.
Okay. It doesn't say, does it say we're having technical issues or no? Okay, good. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, but can I get right? All right, good. We're back. Text me if it doesn't work, okay? All right, thanks, man. All right, text me if it doesn't work, okay? All right, sorry about that, everybody. Looks like we're back now. I apologize. The last question was, sorry about this. One second. All right, I'll just keep answering questions here. All right, next one is, sorry about that. We had some technical issues. Back in San Francisco, my internet connection's perfect, so we won't have issues back there when I get back next week. All right, so next question is Gorab, who's saying, Chris, I know that venture capital is for someone experienced, but I actually don't recommend doing venture capital until you've started a couple of companies. And the reason is you can network and work hard and get a job in VC, but you won't rise up through the ranks. And the reason you won't rise, and the reason why I don't recommend going to venture capital if you haven't started companies is because it's hard to be on boards of the board of directors of startups that you invest in or unsuccessful startups you've worked with or invested in or started yourself before. So I don't recommend doing venture capital for anybody until you've started a bunch of companies. And maybe it's something you do later in your career. Great to see Elizabeth. Have her on again in the future. I will do. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Very cool. A multi-Michelin chef said in a Financial Times interview, one lesson to any young chef out there, never mix family with business. It's harder when it's family, I think. Your thoughts? Yeah, I completely agree. Because if things go well or don't go well, some of them might get upset at you and you'll lose friendships with a really good friend because of it. So try not to mix that together, please. A sale here locally, and if you could name the 3 best ones you'd use, about mirrorless camera, because they're smaller than the big DSLR cameras, 11 to 22 millimeter lens, so you can vlog with it, and you can turn the screen around too, so you can see yourself. Compact, it's mirrorless, and it's just a great camera. And if you have use it for too, so I can humbly provide my thoughts on what is the best camera solution for you. Yeah. Well, saying, hi, Chris, how are you? I'm okay, thanks. How are you? I'm just apologetic here if people can see me now. I'm going to ask again here. All right. Each time I write my email ID in their comment section to prospective employers, I prefer to be more careful than that, to be honest. But better. The students, will there be assignments and quizzes? Yes, there will. Fees for buying software or any other products. It's $499 all in. Next one is Subnam is if that's your passion, that's your person is, maybe that's something you'd be very passionate. Okay, hold on one second. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't have a strong strange. I've never seen that. Now I check. There's none, and some people pay a lower. And scale this business at a higher one as well. Thank you. Well, there. And what I'm going to do is I'm working in my I'm meeting with your class in San Francisco this. And what I did last year was I recorded that. So just go to my YouTube vlog, please, and do a search on the word fundraising, and you can watch a replay of that. And as always, if you have questions, please let me know. I also have a course on it on Udemy called Fundraising, but it's not the greatest course. It was one of my first ones. Just watch the video on YouTube. It's better. All right, Avi Pro is saying, I think I've mentioned the site before, but here I go again regarding LCHF. What does that mean, LCHF? Sorry, buddy. Please let me know. Thanks, man. And then we got a question. Good afternoon, Chris, and your little sister. Thank you. Sorry I'm late. Please, no worry. Happy golden webcast anniversary, your 50th live weekly webcast. Congratulations on to 100. I'm late because it's all good, though. Please, thank you for joining us. Please, appreciate it. Okay, and then you wrote here, updates, your fantastic advice and suggestions, mentorship and encouragement. So far, no response from Jay Leno. Oh, I remember that. That's right. 2 weeks ago, when I was broadcasting from Berlin, or pardon me, from Barcelona, I'm all over the world, you asked a question about how do you get Jay Leno to appear on some conference or some webcast you're doing, and I told you what to send to him. So you said no response yet. And then you wrote, got a fab reply from the marketing manager at Minimania, offer of giveaways to attendees. He also promised to promote the webinar to 216 mini club owners. They have direct contact with, I'm assuming, 5 members from each club attend an audience of 1,000. Big webinar. No, yeah, that's very big. If you can get 1,000 people live at the same time, that's huge. Huge. It's awesome. And then you're saying you sent a LinkedIn message off to Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, who's actually the villain in a James Bond movie with Sean Connery in the early 80s, 81 or 82, I think, called Never Say Never Again. It's kind of funny to see him as a villain back then. And you wrote, I hope to speak with Andy Jerkins or someone at Genesis on how to make this webinar really special. Hope I haven't disappointed you. No, not at all. Please, please. I love hearing about how you're trying to get people and expand your presence for your webcast. And we can all learn from that. So thank you. And thanks as always for the updates. All right. So I missed a question there from Harish. Harish is saying, recently China has been accused of being a currency manipulator. Can you share with us how this manipulation devaluation works and if it involves buying or selling of mortgages by China into the U.S.? Yeah. So there's been some saber rattling between the Trump administration, the Treasury, as well as China. And what's happened is there's kind of like a mini trade war going on right now. Trump is increasing tariffs in certain areas, and and China's retaliating as well. And basically what happens is this. If a country is selling their products to another country, and the country selling their products, we'll call that country A, and B is the country buying the products. If country A, meaning China, if they make their own currency go down a lot, then it makes their products cheaper to country B consumers. And that's what apparently Trump is saying China did. They devalued the Yuan or the Renminbi a lot. And the way they would do that is they would flood the market with their own currency. They'd increase the supply dramatically of the Chinese yuan. And they do that by buying back a lot of bonds that Chinese consumers or corporations have bought. And so when you buy back Chinese bonds and you're the Chinese government, what happens is you get the bond back, right? And you give money to whoever owned that bond. And that puts a lot more cash into the system. And we know how supply and demand works. If the supply of something increases a lot, then the price goes down. And so that's what's happened. They've bought back a lot of bonds, I think, to help the Chinese yuan go down a lot, right? And it's a tactic to make their exports appear cheaper to American consumers. But that angers the Trump administration because vice versa, American exports going to China are now more expensive. Right? So that's why there's a little bit of saber rattling going back and forth. So, and you wrote, is it because of buying or selling of mortgages by China to the U.S.? Yes, because you can manipulate your own currency by transacting into other markets as well, buying or selling foreign bonds, okay, which increases or decreases the demand for foreign currencies. Yeah, so there apparently there's some sort of allegations that manipulation is occurring. Yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, let me see if we're still live, and we are. So I apologize, everyone, for that. All right, so next up is we've got Imam who's saying, hey, Chris, I am a newbie in your community following you and really appreciate your contents. Thank you, and I hope you join us again. Appreciate that. And then Rohit is saying, hello, sir. I'm from India. Please call me Chris. Thanks. And Adish is saying, enjoyed your show and meeting your family. Thank you. Appreciate that. My little sister, Elizabeth, if you're just joining us, was on the call earlier. I'm broadcasting from my parents' apartment just outside of Toronto. Okay. And then somebody said we're having technical difficulties. We did earlier on. I'm so sorry. We're back now. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me scroll down to the questions. All right, good. Okay, I'm back. All right, so okay, good. So question is, good afternoon, Chris and your little sister. Sorry I'm late. Oh, I guess you posted that one twice. That's okay. Okay, so next up is John Clee from Rochester, and I always smile because I think of John Cleese. And you asked me a couple months ago who my favorite comedians are, including Canadian comedians. Of course, it's Jim Carrey. But John Clee is saying, do you use the DuPont formula? And for those of you not familiar with the DuPont formula, it's a finance formula where you take, there's a finance a ratio called return on equity, which means net income over equity. And you can break that apart using three different formulas, using what's called the DuPont formula. And so you can have assets on the numerator in another formula, liabilities on the denominator, another formula, et cetera, that sort of thing. And it still cancels out mathematically to return on equity, which is net income over equity. I don't do it. I keep things really simple. I find the DuPont model is a little bit too theoretical, and I haven't really seen it used much in the real world. And that's one of the issues with business education is a lot of stuff they teach you is very theoretical. And the same thing with economics. Like no one's ever used a supply and demand graph in the real world unless you want to be an economist or the minister of finance in various countries or the ECB chairperson, et cetera. All right. Oh my goodness, Mr. Nitro Dave is on the call. Dude, it has been a while, like at least 6 months, man. It's great to have you back. And Dave actually, he lives in Novato, California. He found out I was Canadian and he sent me Tim Hortons stuff to my house in San Francisco. It's awesome. We loved it. Thank you. And a Tim Hortons mug, which I drink from a lot. So Dave, you'll love to hear. And I know your wife is from Bramalea or Brampton, which is where I used to live for years in the 1970s. But my little sister got me Tim Hortons. So thinking of you, brother. Thank you. And David actually published a book called, I think, Yeet Yeet. Which is awesome. I love it. I showed my kids. I bought it on my Kindle. Yeah. So welcome back, Dave. Always great to have you, buddy. Thank you. All right. And next one is, remember what Will Smith said to his son on the basketball court. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do something. You can do it. Chris will help with help from Wrigley. Right. Excellent. No, I agree. I love that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. Okay, and then question here is from Kwan, who's saying, what do you think about the future of Bitcoin? So I'll never tell you what cryptocurrencies or investments to buy. I own a couple. I own Bitcoin Ether, which is the cryptocurrency for the Ethereum platform, and I own a little bit of Litecoin, and I own one more as well, Ripple, right? The CEO and founder lives pretty close to me in California. I like Bitcoin longer term. They kind of had a first mover advantage. I don't think it's going to be the most successful cryptocurrency, and the reason why lots of cryptocurrencies exist is because of the limitations of other cryptocurrencies. And so Bitcoin is kind of slow. And other cryptocurrencies that have been created since Bitcoin was released or created by, apparently by Satoshi back in 2009. Other cryptocurrencies are a lot faster from a transaction perspective. But I like Bitcoin because supply is going to be limited for the number of shares. So there now will be more than 21 million Bitcoins created by the year 2140. All right. And I see that the number of questions is dwindling. It might be because we had technical issues. We'll have to wrap up the call. It's not a threat. All right. Next up is Vipul is asking, how do you approach investors for a startup idea? So what I recommend doing is go to my website. That's Haroun Venture Network to get investors. And after you read the book and apply the concepts taught in that book, if you still can't get investors, let me know. And I promise you we'll figure something out. I'll find another way for you to meet with investors. Yeah. All right. And Vipul, your homework is I want you to go to YouTube and do a search how you can raise a lot of money or get what you want just by asking. All right, Andrew, me, and Dupree, how are you, buddy? I'm in your neck of the woods, man. I'm in Mississauga. So Andrew is kind of like the reverse of me. He's American living in Canada. I'm Canadian living in America. But I'm here now in Mississauga. I'm a 905er. That's right. Canadian dollar and Brazilian real are affected currently in relation to your finance class comments. Yeah. So I would say that, so the price of oil is now at a 6-year high. And those three economies that you mentioned, Canada, Australia, and Brazil, are very natural resources rich. And when commodity prices go up, usually their currencies go up as well, the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, and the Brazilian real. And the reason why those three countries have their currency values going up when commodities go up is because countries that want to buy commodities from Brazil, Australia, and Canada, the way they do it is they have to convert their own currency into Canadian dollars, for example, if they're buying natural resources from Canada, and then buy Canadian oil. It's just the way it works. And so what happens is whenever commodity prices spike, the currencies, as long as we're not in a depression or a big recession, the currencies of the three aforementioned countries go up quite a bit, yeah. All right. And then Andrew is saying it's that I can meet up for a coffee with anybody tomorrow afternoon, okay, Friday afternoon. But what you got to do is two things. Number one, send me a LinkedIn message. And number two, I'll respond and we'll meet somewhere in Mississauga here. Maybe we'll meet actually at Arundel, at University of Toronto Arundel campus here, because it's right across the street here from my parents' place. But send me a message today, please, over LinkedIn, and we'll set it up. And that works out well because my kids tomorrow are going out to a water park at noon. So it'll work out great. And so if I haven't answered your question yet, please ask it again. Because I see there's not that many. Ripple is a San Francisco State alumni. Oh, dude, that's awesome. He gave San Francisco State a $25 million gift, I believe, in the form of digital currency. That's awesome, man. Very cool. Very cool. I didn't know that. That's cool. All right. And Shantanu is saying, is it necessary to do a job to get experience, or can I go into my own startup right away? Yeah. So I think that, and give me 1 second, sorry. What I'm going to eat while I'm talking to you. My little sister got me a bagel from Tim Hortons, which is amazing. Trying to multitask here. I think it's okay to work for somebody else, right, out of high school or university. And when you work for somebody else, join a big company if you can initially, so you can learn what to do and also what not to do. And you're going to learn a lot from them. It's like you're getting paid to have another degree. And you can always start companies on the side. Like when I worked at Accenture, I started a lot of companies on the side. A lot. Yeah, I even started a charity. So good. All right. Oh my God. You guys got to go to Tim Hortons, man. Get a bagel. Best. All right. Sorry about eating in front of you there. And yes, those were carbohydrates, but I'm still working. Next question I've got is from Jason, who's saying, any thoughts on the potential investment opportunities that a trade war between U.S. and China could bring? Yeah, absolutely. So people are going to freak out if things get worse. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at your favorite companies for the long run, and I want you to buy them, buy a lot of them. Okay, because if the market crashes or pulls back a bunch, whatever, America's on sale. And I love shopping when there's a sale. The most bizarre thing is that when it comes to stock market, people are creatures of emotion and not creatures of logic. And, I love to be a contrarian. If everybody's buying the exact same stock, then there's not many incremental investors to push it up. But if everybody's selling stocks, then there's not that many buyers. That's when you buy, right? You buy. So I love to buy broken companies, I love to buy broken stocks, but not broken companies. And if there's a significant sell-off, I'm usually a buyer. I'm usually a buyer. So get somebody here. Yeah. So hold on one second. Yeah, so looks like we might be having some internet problems. If there is internet problems on your side, I apologize. It's tough here. We share Wi-Fi, but back in San Francisco, we will not have these issues. And I return next week. All right. Next question I've got here is active. So your question is, I wanted to ask your opinion of investment newsletters as a business model, such as charging a monthly fee to investment research. Yeah. So there's a company that does that called Motley Fool. They've been around forever. They started out on AOL years ago before people used the interwebs, so to speak. You might want to check out their business model. They kind of had first mover advantage. If you're going to do that and offer investment advice through a newsletter, please talk to a lawyer first. I'm not a lawyer, but anytime you recommend investments to people, yeah. And what I recommend doing to 30 messages scheduled per month, what you can do is you can actually schedule your messages to be sent at certain times, your newsletter, and also have it sent on different platforms like Medium, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. And of course, on Twitter, you just provide a link to maybe your article on your website or something. Yeah. All right. Next up is Jonathan Lopez, who's saying, hi, Chris. I'm graduating in the spring of next year in finance. I'm currently looking for a job or an internship, but no luck getting any callbacks. What can I do to become a better suitor to employers? Yeah. So take my course called the Complete Job Course, because in that course, I teach you not only how to create a great LinkedIn profile and resume and interview, but I teach you how to network a lot to get jobs. And I think it's tough to just apply for jobs on websites when companies say we're hiring. Because thousands of people apply as well. I think a better way to do it is networking. And I want you to go to my website, harounventures.com, and download my networking book for free. Read it cover to cover, right? It's 200 pages plus a couple hours of YouTube videos through links, and apply the methodologies. And I promise you it will work. Okay, you just got to be resilient and be willing to fail over and over and over again if you don't get callbacks. But just try it out, and I promise you. In the first class, I would always say, if I told all of you that if you did 10 informational meetings in the next 10 weeks that you would get the job of your dreams, would you do it? And every hand goes up. And then right before the final exam, when the semester, and by the way, those students are the ones that lift their hands, are the ones that kind of live in the sandbox, which is what you got to do. You got to be a social person to be successful, because business is all about sales, right? But those people are the ones that get the jobs of their dreams. Always, always, always. And they never get the top grades, right? But you just got to network a lot. So the bottom line is just go to my website and download that networking book for free. Read it cover to cover. Use the methodologies I teach about in that free book. And if it doesn't work, let me know on this weekly call here. And I promise you and I together will figure something out. Yeah. All right. And so I don't see many questions left. We only have 22 people on the call because we had the call. Yeah. All right. And if you're just thinking of a question, it's taking you a while to write it, then just type the letter Q and I'll know that you're typing a question, which is fine. And I won't end the call abruptly for you. All right. So Andrew is saying, I did take your networking class, but I never did set up a LinkedIn account. Shucks. Yeah. Okay, good. So Andrew, it says Arendelle is good. So Andrew, here's my, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, I'll just give this to you. And it's my cell number, okay? And you can text 737-15523. Hopefully you're able to get that. Hopefully the internet connection was good there. And we'll meet up tomorrow at Arendelle. Yeah. I think there's a place called the Blind Duck Pub there or something, but we'll grab a coffee there. Oh, there's a Tim Hortons, dude. There's a Tim Hortons at Arendelle. So let's meet at Arendelle tomorrow at the Tim Hortons, okay? So send me a text. And we'll arrange a time for that. And that goes for anybody else that wants to meet us tomorrow afternoon at Arendelle, which is University of Toronto, August 9th in the afternoon here in Toronto. If you're here, let's all meet up. The more the merrier. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. And it'll be good to meet you, Andrew, you, me, and Dupree, right? Sorry. That's an Owen Wilson movie. You know that now. I'll stop now. All right, cool. All right. Let's say here. Vipul is saying, how do you stay positive while doing something? How do you stay positive while doing something if I'm getting a lot of failure as if there is no win-win situation till now? Yeah. What you got to keep in mind, I love this question, is that you got to fail a lot to succeed. And Michael Jordan said, I failed over and over and over and over again. And that's why I succeed. You got to be comfortable with failure. And the way to be comfortable with failure is to tell yourself, I don't give a damn what people think of me. You know, I'm going to march to the beat of my own drum. And I'm going to fail a lot. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. But the only way I can get to the top of the mountain is by taking risks. And if I told you that if you failed 10 times in a row, and the 11th time you'd be incredibly successful with any endeavor, meaning asking somebody on a date or starting a company or whatever it is, if I told you on the 11th try you'd get it, would you do it? Of course you would. Please fail 10 times. Just keep trying. And if you look at like a lot of writers, writing a book is very competitive. If you look at J.K. Rowling and Agatha Christie and C.S. Lewis, all three of them failed a gazillion times until somebody finally signed them up, meaning a publisher. And so J.K. Rowling, she was, God bless her, tough life. She was an assistant, she hated her job, and she was a single mother. And she failed 29 times in a row, meaning 29 publishers said no. And then the 30th said yes. So you just got to know every time you fail, you get that much closer to success. And you got to condition yourself just to not care what people think of you. Otherwise, you'll always be their prisoner. And I celebrate failure. I know it sounds messed up, but when my kids try something new and they fail, I say, good job, good job. And when my employees, when they try something new and it fails or it hurts business, I'm actually proud of them. And I call them out and I say, good job for trying something new. Because if you're afraid of failure, you won't get very far. All right. Andrew is saying, by the way, almost complete intro to finance and accounting class. You're almost done with that. 85% in the financial analyst course and working through the MBA course. I guess I should take the 9 for $50 deal. Yeah, if you want to, yeah. And so what Andrew is referring to is if you go to my if you go to my website, we'll go there together. You'll see here there's a 9-course bundle sale. Just scroll down for $50, and there's always a money back guarantee. And you get these 9 courses for $50. It's supposed to be a limited sale, and I've written that it's limited. It won't be up forever, or whatever. Although it's been there for a couple months for now. But yeah, check it out if you want. And if you apply to the MBA Degree Program and you get accepted, what you can do is you can actually send me a certificate of completion for all of these, and then you'll get $90 off the degree, and that goes for the Udemy courses too. So the way it works is Udemy is a wonderful partner of mine, and they'll continue to be an amazing partner forever. But if you go here to the FAQ for the MBA Degree Program, if you take these courses of mine on Udemy and you finish them, all 27 of them, And that means you'll get $270 off the $499 MBA Degree Program, which is a 54% discount. But you got to send the certificates of completion for all these. And as I scroll down, you'll see that there's a couple courses that don't have links behind them because we're going to publish them very, very soon. Okay. And then when you get accepted to the MBA Degree Program, you got to take these 2 courses on Udemy. Just read through the FAQs here if you're interested in that as well. Thank you. All right, let me go back here. Let's go a little bit closer in. All right, good. All right, and I should probably turn the lights up. And it's going to take you a minute or two to type it. Then enter, okay to quit a job during probation period for a higher paying job. How do you do so? I don't know what a probation period means. But in terms of quitting a job in general, try to stay 2 years if you can, because it looks good on your resume if you stay at least 2 years. Otherwise, if you only work at many places for a year, no one's going to hire you, or you'll be less competitive because they might feel that you might not be committed and you'll quit after they train you. But when it comes to getting a job at a higher pay, you got a family support, yourself to support, and you got to be mindful of your family. And I want you to be loyal to them first before you're loyal to anybody else. Okay, so if you can get another job with a higher paying base salary or whatever, and you enjoy the job and you like the people there, then it's definitely something to consider. And every time you get a call from a headhunter, you always got to take those meetings discreetly, in a coffee shop or hotel, wherever, just far away from your company. But you got to take all those meetings because you got to know your worth, and you always got to have a plan B, because if there's a recession, what happens is every company fires people, and even if you're an amazing performer, companies tend to overhire, and then they tend to overfire, and they don't cut into fat, they cut into muscle as well. You always got to have a plan B. Always, always, always. All right, let's see. What do we got next? What do you think about digital transformation that big companies are seeking out? And is it important for you to know about this subject for getting a better job? Yeah, you always have to be mindful of technology trends that are going to disintermediate or disrupt an industry if you're passionate about a certain industry. And you got to embrace technology, because technology will help your company in your industry do things faster, cheaper, etc., and reach more customers. And I really believe in disrupting your own business model before technology and the competition does. A great case study on this is Reed Hastings, who is the founder and CEO of Netflix. Years ago, they only had DVDs. And then what he did was he disrupted his own business model with technology by having a streaming service. And people thought he was crazy at the time. And I remember we backed up the truck on that stock. We loved it. Because he was very forward thinking. And so you got to embrace technology and disrupt your own business model, because if you don't, somebody else will. All right. Next up is it possible to buy United States-based company stocks from India? Yeah, absolutely. You can do it. And I know that in the United States, you can buy a lot of great Indian stocks on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. So you can buy Satyam, ticker SAY, or you can on the New York Stock Exchange, or you can buy it on the Sensex there in India. Yeah, and so there might also be some, ADR stands for American Depository Receipts, but maybe there's some IDRs or whatever they might call it in India, where you can buy American companies on your stock markets, on the Sensex, for example. And if you can't, then of course you can buy foreign companies. You can buy whatever you want. India is a beautiful country. It's the biggest democracy in the world. And I'm sure there's no foreign restrictions on buying U.S. stocks. In terms of how to do that, I would talk to a local broker. In terms of how to get a local broker, what you can do is just call your bank and ask them, is there a brokerage firm affiliated with your bank? And then once you talk to the brokerage firm, ask them, how can I buy American stocks? All right. Next up is it possible to open an account with a U.S. bank if you live outside of the U.S. permanently? Yeah, I think you can. I mean, my parents live in Canada, but they have an account at Bank of America. And I know that because my mom called me in 2008 and she said, honey, should we take our money out of Bank of America? And that's when the world was ending. I was like, oh my goodness, everybody's freaking out. And we were within 24 hours then a bank machine's not working. It was a scary, scary time. Yeah. But you can often find like foreign branches of like Citibank in your city. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's a big American bank, obviously. So I don't see why not. You might want to talk to a tax accountant or a lawyer or your own personal accountant if you have one, to ask them what the tax repercussions can be for doing that. All right. Next up, looks like the last question here. If you have questions, please ask me now. If you're just thinking of a question, type the letter Q, and I'll know that you're thinking of it, and I won't end the webcast. But I see we got the just one last question here, and I'm happy to go all day forever, as always. So the question is, small company or big company? Which should I go for a fresher, as I can learn things or two related to starting a business? Okay. So the question is, should I join a small company or a big company to learn a lot about business? So pardon me, the question is, should I join a big company or a small company if I'm thinking of starting my own company? So what I would do is, sometimes in order to get credibility for a startup or company you're starting, you have to have work experience. And so I recommend going to a big company that's in the same sector you're in. Okay, so say you want to start a search company, then go work for Google. Yeah. And if you already have a lot of big company experience, then I recommend going to a startup and just seeing what it's like. Now, startups are really tough, man, because you got to be a jack of all trades, especially when you're younger. It's tougher for you without much experience. I don't know how much experience you have, but it's tough if you don't have much experience to join a startup, because you got to hit the ground running and wear multiple hats. And if you do start your company, please take my business plan course first. It's called the Complete Business Plan course, because most people that start companies fail because they don't plan accordingly. So that's what I recommend. Yeah. All right. Okay. Question here is, and Jonathan is typing a question. He wrote the letter Q there. So please, everybody that's got a question, type Q now, because if I don't see it, I'll wrap up the call. And I'm happy to do this call forever. This is fun for me. So JB's got a question. When will the MBA course start? Or please enlighten us more about this course. So what I recommend doing, and let's go there together, is go to my website. Okay, Haroun Education Ventures. And when you're here, click here on the MBA program. Okay, and if you got mobile in the corner, there's a menu. And then what you can do is you can read about the important dates here. The start date, it starts December 2nd. Okay. And then you can read about the requirements, the frequently asked questions here. And if we have not answered a question here, then just email admissions@harounventures.com. Okay. And then we'll answer the questions for you. Or if you read through the FAQ right now and you still have questions, ask me today or next week or any week on this weekly webcast. Yeah. And then in terms of applying, I just want two things. When you apply, you write an essay right here. And the essay, you're going to answer two questions. Number one, why do you want to get an MBA? And number two, what's your perfect life in 10 years? Why am I asking you that? Because I want to customize the course for you to try to help you get closer to your goals, help you achieve your goals. So again, if you have questions after reading the FAQ, let me know. I strongly encourage you, those of you that are interested, to apply by the 31st of August. That's early admissions. Then you'll find out in September if you've been accepted. It's a rolling admission basis. And that's the way most schools work. The earlier you apply, the better. Because if you apply at the last minute, there might not be as many positions there. And I haven't really advertised this very much at all, actually, outside of this call, because we've had just a massive inflow of applications. But if you're on this call weekly and I know you and whatnot, I'd have to say your chance of getting in are a lot higher. Yeah. All right, good. Let me go back now. And let's go back to... Yeah, we'll try that angle. That looks good. Cool. All right. And by the way, if anybody's interested on how I set up today's of this webcast you're watching now, because I did a really fast forward 10-second clip on how I set everything up. And you can also take my complete YouTube course to learn about that, which is coming out later this month. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have got... Whoa, a lot of questions came in. Awesome. That's what I like to see. Thank you. All right. So in my past will reduce my chance of getting a job in the finance field. Is a criminal background, which I have gone through the courts to, will that hinder my chances of a job in finance? Thank you for that question. I don't think that there's any limitations on what you can achieve in life. And I want to say that might actually motivate you more than other candidates because of that. But what you got to do is this: you got to network a lot. Yeah, and what I would do is network with, go to my website, harounventures.com, and download my book for free on how to network. And it will help you to get informational meetings and get a ton of informational meetings, and take my complete job course, because that course will teach you how to create one-page documents that will add tremendous value to the people you're meeting with. And if you add so much value to them, and when you apply for the job there, when an opening emerges, they might overlook whatever it is you have on your file. Okay. And you got to open up to them as well and tell them this, obviously not right away, but at some point. Just say there is, I don't know how you want to phrase it. I don't know what you did and everything, but maybe, and I'm going to make this up. I'm going to say, I really want to work here. And I just want to say and be completely transparent that, earlier in my life, I came from a difficult background, and I had an older sibling, and that was very influential on me. And we did something stupid. I was just a kid. I was a lot younger, and I was kind of pressured into, I took a candy bar from the store, and I got arrested for it, and whatever it is. Okay. I don't know what it is you did, but I always believe in a second chance. And actually I used to go into the Redwood City McGuire Correctional Facility. It's a prison. I meet with a lot of people, and I'd meet with these young men that, a lot of them had deadbeat fathers. And I have an open heart for them, because what they went through, they did stuff that I probably did, but I wasn't caught for. And so I always believe everybody has a second chance. And there's people that you're going to meet with when you network that also have the same perspective. And I don't know what you did and whatnot, but obviously you got to open up and tell them. But everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody deserves a second chance. Whatever it is you did, I probably did it too. So yeah. But just network a lot and add a tremendous amount of value by taking my complete job course. Add a tremendous amount of value to whoever you're meeting with in the informational meeting, to the extent that they're going to overlook whatever it is that you might have on your record. Everybody gets a second chance. Always. And a lot of people that have criminal records, they end up getting jobs. That they bond with the person that's, that might hire them, or HR, whatever, and they overlook it. You got to disclose it though. You got to disclose it always. It's kind of like anytime you get somebody to invest in your company, you got to disclose the risks. Always. Okay. And everybody deserves a second chance. And if I can humbly help you, and I'll walk through walls for you to help you out, let me know. Okay. All right. Next up is, and you know what, dude, maybe you, if you network like crazy, Jonathan, and you can't get that coveted job, then there's got to be a way you can start your own company, and years from now, you might look back and be grateful to God that you couldn't get that job because you were frustrated and you started a company that did exceptionally well. Okay. All right. But keep asking me questions, over the next, years and decades on this weekly call. Again, I'll walk through walls to help you out. All right. But I'm motivated now by you. I got the fire in my belly to help, I always feel that people that feel like they're at a disadvantage are subconsciously maybe at an advantage, because they'll work harder than everybody else. All right. Next question is, hi, Chris. How are you? I'm great. How are you, dude? How will the trade war between the US and China affect the market in the short term? So the market hates uncertainty, and it can sell off easily. And if it sells off a lot, I want you to back up the truck and buy your favorite stocks. I don't think things are going to be as bad as you think, right? And it's the media's job to get you scared, or at least to get you watch more of their program, whatever it is. It's just what they do. So try to tune out the media and just think logically longer term. And if there are stocks of yours that are on sale, that's when you buy it. We love to buy stuff on sale, right? So, and if you get a chance, this is completely off topic, but I'm watching this program now on HBO, which is fascinating. It's about Fox News, which I've never really, and it's unbelievable. And the reason I thought of it is because the shock value of the news, whatever, and Fox does that, and every other major network does that as well. But it's incredible. And Russell Crowe is this guy in that show that basically works for Rupert Murdoch, and this guy started Fox News, and it's amazing. And Russell Crowe put on like 30 pounds of weight, and he has prosthetics on him, so he looks like he's really, really overweight, including 6 pounds of fat on his face, just prosthetic plastic stuff. But his acting performance in that dude, it's unbelievable. And he got Best Actor for Gladiator, but his acting in this is way, way better, right? So anyway, check it out if you want to. It really is interesting. It's fascinating. All right. But Jonathan, stay with me, dude, okay? Stay with me and let me know how you progress, because I want to help, okay? And you might find that you might find people when you network that were in a similar situation to you that will want to help you out, okay? So just think of yourself, Jonathan, 20 years from now, okay? In 20 years from now, you're way more successful than you are today, which is going to happen. And in 20 years, this person reaches out to you, and it's this kid that reminds you a lot of yourself 20 years ago. And this person, when he reaches out to you, says, you know, I really want to get into financial services, and I had a bit of a setback because of these reasons, and I have a record. And I was wondering if you could just have a cup of coffee and help me out. Of course you're going to say yes. There are people like that out there that have the similar background to you. Find them, network with them, meet them, add value to them, and they will help you. Give and you will receive. It's prophetic, and it's been true since the beginning of time. But I want you to keep me up to date on your struggles and how this works out for you, because I've got a fire in my belly now. If I don't respond, I'm so sorry. I get thousands of messages. I just can't keep up. And so this is the best way for me to bond with all of you. LinkedIn or my phone. We'll grab a coffee tomorrow. And that goes for anybody else that's here in the Toronto area. If you want to grab a coffee tomorrow afternoon, send me a LinkedIn message, and we'll meet at Arundel, University of Toronto area. And earlier, okay. All right, let's see. Well, my question, just type in the word Q so I know you're still here, but looks like we've got a bunch more. This is good. Awesome. All right. That can become the main quality of the services I'm designing. Again, and it might have been cut off because YouTube's having issues, or I'm having issues with YouTube today. It's my fault, not theirs. All right, next up is saying the Fed has cut interest rates. Most sectors benefit. Why? And I'll answer I'll drill down in a second for you. But the reason is because if interest rates go up a lot, then because interest rates are higher. So when interest rates drop a lot, or even a little bit, people say, financial services companies usually benefit a lot, because people get more loans too when interest rates go down. But all major sectors do. Okay. All right. Quan is saying, how old is too old for had to graduate undergrad at 22, work 4 years, and then, get into business school at 26? You need 4 years experience. I think you always have to think about the other person's perspective. So when you apply to a business school, think about what the admissions director or admissions committee is thinking when they read your essay. If you look just like everybody else, meaning if you have 4 years, so there's no such thing as too old is too old. If you want to change careers, you do it. You have a better chance. And the average age or life expectancy now is 26 years longer than it was All right. Hopefully it's still working. Give me a second. Let me scream down. All right. And Anathi's on the call. Welcome, buddy. And Adi is saying, hello, Chris. I've reached out to Notre Dame, which is the MBA degree program that you got accepted to. I remember your question from a couple months ago. Awesome. Just logged in to say hi during the lunch break. Awesome. Awesome. It's a great school. It's a great school. And make sure you watch the movie Rudy. Okay. And you have to go to a football game too there. It's called the Fighting Irish, the American football. It's a wild event. You got to check it out. All right. All right. Next up is Shantanu is saying, do let us know if you come to India. It would be great if I could meet you. Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate that. And there's a university I used to teach at during the evenings. I used to work in venture capital full-time during the days. And I used to work in the evenings, just teaching at university. It was fun for me. The school was called the Halt International School of Business. And back in 2016, they sent me to India, to Mumbai, and to, you're going to laugh at me for saying this, was at the airport in Mumbai and the airport in New Delhi. And it was called Punjabi Grill. And for those of you that have never eaten a dosa, that's D-O-S-A, it is the best food you'll ever eat. And people in America, remember the first time you tried a fresh Krispy Kreme donut, how good it was? That's what a dosa is like, but even better. So you got to check that out here. Yeah. It's awesome. Thank you for that. If I go to India, I'll definitely let you know. Thank you. And actually, I looked at the statistics of this webcast, and 25% of the people on this call are usually from India. It's fascinating because 7% of my students on Udemy are from India, 39% from the United States, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 from everywhere else. 5% Canada, 5% England, 5% Australia, and then fragmented the rest of the world, every country. Yeah. All right. Next one is Nadi is saying there's going to be a delay in my book. We'll get it done in the next 2 weeks or so. Since I want you to. Okay, it's really easy to do. All you got to do is go to my website. Go to harounventures.com/write book. All one word. All lowercase one word. WRITE book. And it's a template. And if you can use a browser and Microsoft Word, you can write a book. It's free. And in that document, I teach you, so easy, on one page, how to do your book on Kindle, paper-based on Amazon, as well as audible.com. All companies obviously owned by Amazon. It's free. It's cheap to do to get the cover done as well. You'll get the cover over Fiverr. Just read the first page there of that download, and you'll see. And then, switching. If you're here, I thought you were at Yaya and Papu's house. That's Greek grandparents. Right? Christine's parents her mother is Greek. Dylan, come in here if you're here. A dosa is just this. It's like a Dylan. It's like a pita. You know those pitas we have, the Arabic bread. It's like that, but it's better. It's softer. It's more potato based. And less flour based, and it's good. And on the inside, they put chicken, potato. It's good. You got to try it. Dylan, if you're here right now, after this call, I'll walk with you to South Common Mall, and there's a fast food place here called Dosa. It's a new place, South Common Mall. It's right by the Walmart. For the one person on the call knows what I'm talking about in Canada. That's awesome. Love you, Dylan, if you're watching. Okay. But no, when you, how badly do you all want a job? Or how badly do you want success? How bad do you want it? Well, imagine this, going into a job interview or meeting with a customer and saying, oh, here's a book I wrote. It's easy to do. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And Dave Nitro, who's on the call, did it. When your book is done, and I'm talking to everybody in this call, not just Nadi, but when your book is done, let me know because I want to buy it. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to profile it here, okay? And the way to get it done is you got to tell your friends and everybody, like Nadi's done, that you're writing a book. And they're all going to ask you, oh, how's it going? Next time they see you with your book. And you got to set a deadline date. And by vocalizing a goal and setting a deadline date, the probability of it coming true goes up materially. All right. Next up is, and if I missed any questions in the middle, let me know. And Just Jay, I love your comment there, buddy. Thank you. Yeah. Jonathan, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. Stay with me here. So Andrew Dupree is saying, okay, so Chris, you had a negative in your life. So for us, great recessionists, how do we overcome the mental anguish over the destruction of our relationships, credit, and financial knowledge? that is the Great Recession caused. The financial destruction, which we did not cause, mires us in brick walls. I know. I love where you're going with this. I missed the entire Toronto build out due to the fact that we were terrified to engage in a building and its construction. Yeah. In Toronto, and I can see the CN Tower right here in the distance. It's cleared up a bit. Beautiful view. So right around the CN Tower, there's more cranes in Toronto now than any other city in North America. Actually, no, second to LA, but there's a lot of building going on here. And what Andrew is talking about is there's kind of like a lost generation. I don't know if I want to use that word lost, but there's a book called The Forgotten Man, which is about the Great Depression. And when I read that book, I kind of think about the younger generation now, that, people that are in their 20s and 30s that, got shafted because of the Great Recession. If you try to get a job in 2008 and 9 and you graduate around then, it's really tough. It was really tough because those companies couldn't hire. And a lot of people, aren't retired or didn't retire because they lost, a lot of money back then in 08, 09. And that really hurt people in their 20s and 30s. There's just no openings for them. And then finally, when the economy improved a couple of years later, by 2011 or 12, whatever, what happened was these companies started hiring people right out of university. And so in between, you have a generation that missed out. And it's really sad. And it hits other parts of the world more so. Like I was in Spain last week, and the unemployment rate for youth in Spain is actually about 40%. Yeah. Oh, and I met with Paul when I was there. And Paul, if you're on the call, thank you so much. So Paul gave me this Barcelona Football Club clothes. I was going to wear one today. I totally forgot. I'll wear it next week. But Paul, thank you for that. It was great meeting you, buddy. But no, an entire generation is lost because of what happened in 08. It sucks. And that's why the younger generation, they don't trust big business, nor should they. And they'll also, never be accustomed to having one job for the rest of their lives. But Andrew, I'm sorry you went through this. And when we meet tomorrow, let's talk about it. Sorry you're going through this. Yeah. All right. Avi Pro, who's our awesome pilot from Sweden, is saying when it comes to characters and judging people, this is a great documentary, Ice Guardians. Watch this stuff. I'll check out, and I will check out that documentary on Netflix as well. Thank you for that. Thank you. All right. All right. And Thomas is saying Argentina, and I'm not sure why you're mentioning that. I might have missed something in the middle there. Please let me know if you have a question. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it. All right. Carlos is saying just enough to know that I'm addressing the main need that I can become the main quality of the service I am designing. Okay. And let me know if there's a question there, Carlos. I'm so sorry, buddy. Thanks. The older I get, the better I was. So thanks. Next up is what kind of job will give you a flexible schedule? I know that investment banking is not one of them. You're right. Don't be an investment banker. A lot of people want to be an investment banker, but most people don't know why. And people, I don't know, it's this prestigious thing when you're an undergrad. Everyone's like, I want to be an investment banker. And then you get to Wall Street and you hate it and you hate your life because you're working 100 hours a week and you're doing a lot of photocopying and PowerPoint. All right. So 2 questions there. So one question is, what kind of a job gives you a flexible schedule? And you have another question. Let's do the first one first. So flexible schedule, you can work at, like big companies have a lot of flexible schedules. Like my wife works part-time at IBM in schedules. They're out there. You just got to find them. Or what you can do what I do is teach online or find a side hustle and create your own company. Or take my complete business plan course and try to figure out what kind of company you can start so you have flexible schedules yourself. It's the only way to be truly independent and truly flexible is to start your own company. And I'm humbled to say that I will do whatever it takes to help you get there. All right. Next question you have there is, what's the best way to improve your speaking or communication skills? Repetition is the mother of all skill. So you got to practice a lot. And so what I recommend doing is I recommend doing a search online on Meetup. And let me do this with you, okay? So you can go to these events, and I'm going to show you how to do this everywhere in the world right now. Give me a second here. When you get there, sign up and do a search on your city name and the word Toastmasters. and go to meetings locally. Like, for example, this is, I guess it knows my IP address here. Scarborough soccer pickup game every Friday. Like, somebody created this meetup. So Scarborough is not that far away from Mississauga, where I live. Scarborough and Mississauga are on the outsides of Toronto. In the bars late at night, they say, oh, here comes the S&M crowd, Scarborough, Mississauga. Or here comes the 905ers. That's our area code. Only Andrew Dupree gets that, sorry. But you can enter in your city name here. And then you can just enter in whatever it is you're interested in. And you can find these free events. And there will be one there for Toastmasters where you live. I don't know where you live, but there will be one there. And what you can also do is you can take my called the Complete Public Speaking course. You take my MBA degree program, I'll give you one-on-one feedback. Okay, when you present, that's gonna be part of the curriculum. But what you can also do is, and I don't know what your budget's like, you can take the Dale Carnegie course. Do a search on that, and that will help you with public speaking a lot. And it's such a big deal, the Dale Carnegie public speaking course, and it's in lots of cities. It's such a big deal that Warren Buffett refuses to put his Columbia MBA degree on the wall, but he does put his Dale Carnegie certificate of completion on the wall. And he took that course when he was 19, and I did when I was 19 as well. It's weird. Except he's just like me, but with 8 million more zeros by his net worth. If you can. And by the way, a little side note, if you want, there's a really good biography on HBO, which you could stream or buy online on Warren Buffett. Check it out if you want to. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, great. All right, next up is Thomas is saying, what do you think of Walmart as an employer? It's a tough call. Depends what kind of job you have there. I have a friend of mine I went to business school with named Marilia Roca. And she opened up Walmart in Brazil, and it was a great experience for her. She loved it. She learned a lot about business and entrepreneurship as well. And that was kind of in a more senior level there. In terms of working on the floor of Walmart, I don't really have a strong opinion there. I would look into the benefits as well. And I know that Walmart didn't enter the Canadian market for ages. They're here now, obviously, just around the corner here. I love Walmart. But they didn't enter the Canadian market for ages because they were worried about unions up here. So there's a lot of things you got to look into from that perspective. But the best way to kind of figure out what it's like working for another company is go to glassdoor.com. And when you go to glassdoor.com, you can enter in Walmart or whatever company it is you want to work at, and you can find out the salaries and also feedback, confidential feedback from employees. So check that out if you can. All right. Next up, Vipul is saying, hope to see you in India, and we will eat dosa too. Thank you. It's the best food ever. And again, for those of you that have not tried a dosa yet, you haven't lived until you've tried dosa. Okay, that's kind of a cool saying. You haven't lived until you tried dosa. It's the best food ever. And Rohit is saying, good morning, Chris. Hope you're doing well. Rohit, how are you, buddy? It's been a little while, man. Hope you're doing great. Good to hear from you. And Andrew Dupree is saying, well, you have some excellent courses and programs. I wish I had them much earlier. I'm attempting to work them into regular daily thinking. And I missed the number today due to static internet. Apologies. Sent an email to Wrigley and CC'd with my phone data. Okay. Yeah. If you want to meet up tomorrow with Andrew and I and a couple other students, we're going to meet up in Mississauga tomorrow afternoon at Tim Hortons. It's a great coffee shop. And let's set a time right now, 3 p.m. at Tim Hortons at University of Toronto, Arundel tomorrow. I'll set an alarm later then. Set an alarm tomorrow for 1:56 p.m.
I've set an alarm.
Okay, and that will remind me tomorrow that we'll meet at 3 o'clock. Okay, and it's just a 10-minute walk from where I am. And we'll meet at Tim Hortons at University of Toronto, Arundel campus. And that's Andrew's going to be there. And Andrew, I'll answer your more customized questions there as well. And it'll be good to meet you too, man. And then anybody else who wants to join us, come as well. All right. Okay. Next up is Carlos. When starting a business, have you come across some prompt or questions to help you get in your target audience shoes? Just to know that I'm addressing the main need that can become the main quality, the service I'm designing. Yeah. So before starting any company, you got to look at the total addressable market. and make sure the size of the market is massive, right? In venture capital, a lot of venture capitalists will never invest in a company if the size of the marketplace isn't at least $20 billion, because most startups don't do that well. And if it does do well, you want to get, decent market share percent of a large market. Getting high market share of a tiny market doesn't really make much sense from an investment perspective. And the way to find out, Carlos, what the total addressable market is you can search online for the sector you're in and then the word total addressable market. And you might find reports from consulting firms like McKinsey, Bain, Boston Consulting Group, Accenture, where I used to work, etc. And they'll tell you the size of the total addressable market. If those reports don't exist, or you can't find them, what you can then do is this. Get a listing of the top 20 companies in your sector, and then go to the annual reports of all those companies and figure out how much revenue they made in the past year. Add up the revenue for all 20 companies, and that's a good proxy for the size of the total addressable market. All right. Okay, so Thomas had an earlier question about working at Walmart regarding supply chain. I think that'd be a fascinating job working at Walmart in the supply chain sector there. They the way they source their products, and they have I think it's a couple times a year, they have all of the people that want to sell products to Walmart meet at their headquarters and pitch those products. It's kind of a cool process. I saw it on 60 Minutes a while ago. It sounds interesting. Yeah. And if you're not sure what that can do to your career, then do a search on LinkedIn on Walmart and supply chain, and find people that used to work at Walmart in the supply chain sector and where they are now. Okay. Yeah, Avi Pro saying Dosa. Yeah. Awesome. All right. I have an idea for a software product which I want to create using artificial intelligence. Can you recommend someone whom I can turn to produce the product for me? Okay, so if you're not technical, a couple things you can do. Number one, you can go to local meetups. So go to meetup.com and enter in the technology, the software that you want to get somebody to develop it in. Maybe it's Python, which is popular these days. So enter in Python. And just watch out for snakes. But enter in Python programming and Wozniak and Steve Jobs. The way that they became really successful, one of the ways, is they went to these meetup events, except it wasn't called Meetup back then. In 76, it was called Homebrew Computing Market. Homebrew Computing Meetings or something like that. They went to those events. And that's how they found investors. And maybe you can find your Wozniak by doing that. Another thing you can do if you want is, if you just want to outsource production and you don't want to hire somebody to do it or find a partner, you can go to upwork.com. And I've used Upwork a couple times. I used it for somebody to create a vlog a while ago, just testing. It's a bit more expensive than using Fiverr.com, but it works. And so let's go there together really quickly. Okay. So Upwork.com for freelancers. And what you can do is you can find people here to do freelance work for you, right? Like web, mobile, and software development. Anyway, you can navigate through the menus here and find somebody. It's a little bit more expensive than using Fiverr.com, but Fiverr.com you get what you pay for. Fiverr.com is Fiverr.com. It's like a lower end version of Upwork. All right, and if that doesn't work, let me know on the next call, and we'll look at another solution. Okay, let me just drill out again here. All right, we're cooking. All right, looks like the last question here. If you have a question, type it now, or I'll wrap up the call. Shantanu, and if I ever mispronounce anyone's name, let me know. Anadi told me ages ago that his name is not Anadi, it's Anadi with a TH, and I'll never forget it. And you're helping me too, please. I want to be more worldly, and I don't want to mispronounce your names. Okay, so the question is, what are your thoughts about blockchain and Hyperledger as a career? So I think it's going to be more relevant in 5 years. I always look at any sector and say, is this company or this sector going to be more relevant or less relevant in 5 years? And I think blockchains will be the basis for e-commerce transactions in a lot of sectors in the world in 5 years. It'll be more popular than it is today. And for those of you not familiar with that, blockchain basically is the underlying DNA subfabric of many cryptocurrencies. And so the way it works is with cryptocurrencies, when you buy and sell cryptocurrencies and you mine cryptocurrencies, you're actually mining on the blockchain, right? That's where each transaction is kind of stored in. And it doesn't have to just be monetary transactions, but it can also be contracts, legal contracts. Sports, the complete cryptocurrency course, as I go into a lot of detail on that. Thank you. All right, next up, we've got Vipolo saying, do you think Peter Thiel is lucky in terms of tech investments? No, I think he's very skilled. So for those of you not familiar with Peter Thiel, he was the co-founder of PayPal. And he was the co-CEO of PayPal along with Elon Musk. He is an incredible manager. And there's this saying that the PayPal mafia. And so if you look at the PayPal mafia, and you can search for this online if you want, the founders of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, worked at PayPal. He's part of the PayPal mafia. Same thing with Elon Musk, of course, Peter Thiel. Stoppelman, I think his name is, the founder of Yelp. Just a ton of very successful people. The founders of YouTube as well came out of PayPal. So I think he's amazing at managing. I think he's a brilliant businessman. I don't think he's lucky. I think he's just he's just smart. He's brilliant. And he actually has his own venture capital firm called Founders Fund. And I partnered with them before in just previous investments. And I've gone to their office and stuff when I worked in venture capital. Brilliant people work there. And it's called Founders Fund because Peter Thiel really believes in investing in founders, which I thoroughly believe in too. And if you want a little bit more detail on why you should never invest in a company when all the founders have left, go to venturebeat.com and search for my name. When I worked in venture capital, I wrote an article about that. Along the lines of when a founder leaves a company, he's a big investor in Palantir, which he thinks is going to be bigger than Facebook. And Palantir Palantir has more employees in Palo Alto than Facebook does. And you probably haven't even heard of Palantir, many of you. And Palantir has software that solves the world's biggest problems. A lot of banks use Palantir software. Their products, Gotham and Metro, because Palantir software helps banks find security vulnerabilities. The biggest governments in the world, many of them use Palantir as well. The US government and the Obama administration would never have found Osama bin Laden without using Palantir. Palantir's artificial intelligence-based software looks for patterns and found that Osama bin Laden was hiding somewhere in Pakistan. And that's how they found him. Palantir software also helps countries understand and solve human trafficking problems and many other problems as well. And Peter Thiel was also the first investor in Facebook. He put $500,000 in, which became billions. So he's smart. So really smart. Called StemCentrix. And then eventually that company got bought for $10 billion. They cure cancer. So he's good. No luck. All right. I don't see any more questions there in the queue. So I guess what I'll do is I'll wrap up this call. Now, I'm sorry about the technology issues we had here with Wi-Fi here in Canada. It's my fault. I'm sure I messed something up. But I'll be back in San Francisco next week. We won't have these technology problems again. And so what happens usually is within a couple of days, Wrigley, who's awesome and works with me, Wrigley will get all of the questions you asked typed up and put it in the description field. So you can just click on the questions and jump right away to the answer. And if you subscribe to my vlog, I will see you mañana. If you don't subscribe to my vlog, God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week at the same